Camera's flipped. I got to remember how to do this. Okay. Well, shoot. It's a little bit dark in here, a little darker than I expected. Rahim, how are you? Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are, my friend. Audio is garbled. Thank you. Hold on. You're in for a ride. Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Trying to get set up here so that it's not totally lopsided. We are live on TikTok and YouTube. Okay, it sounded like being underwater. I can't find my new mic stand, my nice mic stand. So I have this one that has like the claws on the top and the bottom of the phone, which is really silly because it covers both the mic and the speaker. So I've got to like put it all cockeyed on the phone. So we'll figure it out, right? Okay. I didn't make the video announcement I said I was going to make about doing a raffle. So I put the little thing on the screen here and we'll see how it goes. It is going to have to be a shorter class today, for real, you guys, for real. Because I am in the middle of moving and I have an amazing friend helping me right now. So I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I participate. We made huge moves yesterday, which was what's the word I'm looking for? Such a relief. Last week was quite long. I think my max is like 6.5 hours or something like that. I think that's the longest I've gone on a live. Hello, Derek. Hello, friend. Sorry I have not reached out to you yet. I saw your messages this morning and I'll get back to you. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to grab my coffee. We are in the RV space, so I was close to 6 last week. The thing is I get really excited about it. I think we were talking about it last week. I get so excited about it that I just want to keep talking about it and I want to keep exploring it, because part of the exploration for me is also discovery, right? As much hesitate to say I know, as much information as I have about this stuff, a lot of times when we work together, when we do this stuff together, then it unearths something else. And I'm like, oh, that connection, because you asked it like that or said the thing like that. Now it makes that other connection in my mind and I can see the whole picture more clearly. We embody co-creation. That's why I love to do this live. That's why I love doing it like that. Versus like a classroom setting, right? That's where I thought I wanted to go. I thought I wanted to teach high schoolers when I was in high school, because high schoolers always think they're the best. And then I wanted to teach younger kids and all this, but I never, every time I stepped into the classroom setting, whether it be in like, a private school or a daycare or public school or that kind of thing, it was too much of a controlled container. And I felt like there wasn't enough room. There wasn't as much room for real exploration. And maybe that was just my ignorance as a young wannabe teacher. But yeah, it led me here. It led me to much more. I don't know. Let me hear. Right here, right now, there is no other place I want to be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. I'll be right there for you when the rain starts to fall. So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke. Your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. Anybody been singing a little extra with our throat chakra month? Hey? Huh? Hey? What am I? We'll be right back after these messages. I'll sing you some jingles, some commercials. Let's see. Double your pleasure, double your fun. That's a statement of the great men. Double mint gum. Double your sentiment, your merriment. Double your moment of fun. Double your delightment with the right man. For refreshment, it's the only one. Oh, a pillow. I don't have a pillow to sit my bottom on. Come here, pillow. That'll do. That'll do, pillow. That'll do. That'll do. You guys want to see some bones? More coffee, please, Mackie. You got it. Here, first I want to show you this lovely piece. I actually want to carve it into a cane. I mean, obviously it's got a curve on it, but it's strong enough that you can put pressure on it. It's pretty cool. Pretty freaking cool. Who do you think it's from? Who do you think it's from? Look how long that is. Wow. Way longer than my arm. Good morning, Monica. Brahim, you say that what I have been singing may not be in alignment with where I am moving, but I still sing it anyway. I'm curious what it is that you're singing, if you'd like to share. I found recently, who was I speaking to? I was talking to somebody about a song that was stuck in my head, and I was like, that song. And it was just one part of, it was you guys. Of course it was you guys I was talking to about it. Ooh. Yes, more singing. Yay, yay. Singing is the key to unlock the throat chakra. And not even just singing, like humming, hawing, any vocalization is going to help balance your throat chakra. You rescued some goat horns. Those are sweet. I don't have goat horns, and this is not a goat horn. Hi, Mel. Aloha, Jack. You're singing low vibrational, moody music that's root chakra energy, but not uplifting. For me, lyrics are so important to music, right? I love music. I love to sing. I write my own songs, lyrics, kind of stuff, but I'm not really like a well practiced, tuned musician. But lyrics are super important to me. Because if I find myself articulating something out loud that's not in alignment with where I want to be, for me, it hits harder than it would be to just hum the song or sing something else or even change the words. I was just saying yesterday to my sweet little 9-year-old, I said to him, I'm so sorry. One of these days, you're going to wake up and realize I did you really dirty because I make up lyrics to whatever song is in my head. And if the lyrics of the original song are not in alignment with where I want to go, okay, great example. Rammstein, for instance. Yeah, but isn't Rammstein, no, they're not the ones. Who's the band who's like all just completely not words? I forget who they are. So there is, the theme song. It's the theme song. I'm not a fan of the Lego movies. There's a whole lot of marketing and propaganda stuff inside of those that I don't know. Nope. But they have a song in there and they go, everything is awesome, right? The Everything is Awesome song. You guys probably heard it. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome. It's like when you're living the dream or something. But when you listen to the rest of the song, there's a bunch of like assimilation sort of stuff and like fall in line sort of stuff. And like, everybody, don't you want to be like me? Do like I do. Cause this is how we do this. And this is how like something. And I was like, I mean, I get that Legos are all kind of the same, right? They're all little square. Legos fit in boxes. But it was it was like it was like a fall in line sort of song. And I'm like, no. So I changed it. And now you're welcome to take this with you. So this is my little adaptation of it so that it becomes more of a affirmation, I guess, right? Everything's abundant. Everything I need is already here. Everything's abundant. There's no need to live in fear. Ha. So my poor kid is going to be stuck with all of these songs that totally change, or like super positive affirmations. Like, I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm really sorry. Kind of sorry. Like, I don't like the sorry, not sorry thing because it's disingenuous. Thank you, friend. But I'm not really sorry about it, but I'll kind of be sorry that you're going to be mad at me someday. Thank you, cousin. See, Moon Dragon Art. Everything about Lego Movie is about their system. That's the entire foundation of Lego is system. Okay, cool. I wasn't just like I tend to be, because I've been studying marketing for so freaking long, since the 90s, with doing video editing and the background in that and knowing how to create, right? I'm also a visual person and a storyteller. So I know how to create the story. I know how to craft it. I know how to do that stuff. And that's why I know that it's so insidious, right? Hey, Byron. Hey, my friend. But sometimes I think I get off track and I'm like, oh, I'm being too something about it. Oh, I'm looking too deep into it. But really, like, I think we should all be looking too deeply into the marketing tactics, into the messages that we are consuming and that our children are consuming or that our friends are consuming, because a lot of it is cheap crap that is not good for you at all. Meow. What? Meow? Meow, Tony, meow? Meow, Tony? Meow, Tony. Hi, Tony. Sorry, I had to figure out your name here. Good morning, Sam Bam. Byron, my friend, I'm going to tag you. I'm going to pin you here as I always do. I love you, Byron. Byron does tapping. If you guys are interested in tapping or just want a cool, chill place to hang out and enjoy the vibe, I don't know, maybe you have rules about people following you with tapping with you, but go hang out with Byron, whether he's playing music or tapping. It's a great space to be. He's pinned right here. Okay, so Meow, your throat has been clenched for weeks. I'm so glad you're here. Hang out for a few minutes. It takes me a few minutes to usually get settled in and say hello to everybody, but we have plenty of information about the throat chakra. If this is your first time here, we will go over this stuff again. Typically, we use these Saturdays. The first little bit is to go over how the chakra system works, because a lot of us aren't familiar with the deeper mechanics, I guess, right? And when we understand those things and how it's programmed in, then we understand why our throat ends up being clenched. And that really helps. It's like, how are you going to put something, right? You got to take something apart to put it back together. You got to know how to do it. Otherwise, you're going to cross wires. But the energy system, just to say this, the energy system is dynamic and very malleable. So if you are experiencing tension in any of your chakra areas, or you're worried about this chakra or that chakra, or you're like, oh my God, I'm totally blocked up. There's no healing. This is why I focus on the energy body, because it's so much easier to get into every layer of self. This is, to me, this is the doorway into every aspect of self that we need to reach, is through the energy system and through the manifestations of the energy system in the physical body. So we'll go over those, and then I will also offer mudras. I might even offer you a mudra meow, just so you can sit with it for a little bit. Look, I'm already doing one. Holy shit. Okay, sorry. Let me catch up on comments here. I'm so excited to see new people. Welcome, welcome. Remember, anybody who's new in here, Sam Bam, you're very gifted. I think I'm very obsessive about this stuff because I've been doing this for a long time. And this is like the rabbit hole. Not just the third chakra, but the energy body is the rabbit hole that I have fallen all the way down. And I am hopping back up to be like, you guys, check out what I found. Brahim, I like that you're singing tones that you know are connecting you to that root chakra, and I encourage you to keep doing that. And again, to each our own. Like, if you are comfortable singing the lyrics and you like those, I would not worry as much about the vibration of the words. For me, it's very important, but that's where my energy is. That's where my energy is focused, on that articulation of the words. And for you, it may be focused on really just needing that lower root, that kind of stuff, right? So I'm grateful that you're doing that. The latest is K-pop. Kika, I don't know any K-pop. Can you tell me where to start? Like, who? I love you too, Byron. Thank you guys for all the taps and the love. Again, we are Enigma Mystery. Colorblind Chaos. Good afternoon. First time here. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. I'm glad you're back, my friend. But a silly old year's name. I like it. It reminds us. Virgos know something about obsession. You want to make coffee, Kay? Yes, you do have time. We're just going to settle in for a few minutes. For those of you who are new here and you follow me today, please make sure you check back after the live. TikTok likes to remove my followers. If anybody wants the task today, who feels like they're going to hang out for a while today and wants to count how many people follow me, I would really appreciate that, because TikTok is actively like taking people away, actively unfollowing people after you guys follow me. But it's important to me about where the content takes me energetically. Good. Start with K-pop Demon Hunters. And then also remember, guys, today I was not on top of my stuff because I am on top of my moving stuff right now. But we are going to do a raffle today. So it's not going to be obviously super like hyped unless you guys really get involved and really want a signed copy of this. But I have the little square here over there. I have a little square here on TikTok. If you're on YouTube and you want to join us for the raffle, come join us over on TikTok. I have the live goal. I'm just learning how to do this stuff, guys. I don't like the TikTok market push sort of thing. But the live goal right there shows you the gift to pick to get your name in the hat for the raffle. And again, I'm in the middle of moving, so I'm going to put your names here and then we will draw from it, not in the middle of this live, but we will draw from it and I'll announce the winner. Today's live again is going to be a little shorter. When I say a little shorter, we went almost 6 hours last week. So maybe like 3 or 4 hours today. So you totally have time to like go grab yourself some coffee, go grab yourself a little bit of breakfast, or let me know when you need a break. Let me know when you need a pause. Remind me to take a water break. If, again, you are new here and you're not familiar with my book is called Energy for Sale, the energetic blueprint for consumer conditioning. I use the chakra system as a lens to look at why and how propaganda and marketing get into your system to the point where they wire your system to respond and react to this system or that system out there unconsciously. And I personally am not interested in being puppeted around unconsciously. So if you're like, what? I want to know how that happens. I want to know the mechanics of it. And I like looking at that lens of the chakra system. It's a really easy way to overlap the needs of the energy body with our social emotional development, with our cognitive development, with our physical development. All the things line up in the same on the same track. And because of that, we can see how the needs of safety and security, which start when you're in infancy in the first 6 months of life, right? What's your body doing? It's just figuring out if you're safe. You can't really communicate, you can't really ask for help. And so the message your body gets first is, am I safe or am I not safe? And that patterns into your system as an energy frequency that will be translated through your root chakra. As we grow and as we develop, there are stages of development where we work on each of the different chakras. And as we grow and as we develop, and as those get aligned or misaligned, right, we realize that, we're not safe to be powerful and loud, or we're not safe to say too much or to speak our truth. So we change, or we develop a pattern around that area, around that chakra, to protect your system. My favorite part of this is it flips the paradigm on its head, that your body is out to get you, or that your mind is messing with you, or that your ego is your enemy, or your emotions are bad and should be ignored. The opposite is true, right? What's the best way to hide the truth from people is to tell them the opposite of true is true, and the truth is to tell them the truth is bad and awful and terrible, and to run in the opposite direction, right? BJ, and this is negative energy, which is okay to release. We have both positive and negative energies in our system. We have our poles just like the planet does. Our heart generates a toroidal field of energy that moves around our system. And again, this is not hyperbole. This is stuff that we have record and information of as far back as 1500 BC, as well as current, updated, and ongoing study about the energy body and the heart and our toroidal field and how it interacts with our external world and our internal world. This is not something made up or woo-woo. And I'm telling you, anybody telling you that the chakras are bad, demonic, or something like that is leading you directly away from the mechanism for you to take back your personal power. This is leading, folks like that are going to lead you away from where you can stand in your truth, discover your healing that's available within you, versus going out there and paying everybody else for all the things. So anyway, the book is available on Amazon, ironically, because it's a marketing thing and we don't, anyway. And yeah, so here, book. Okay. Colorblind Chaos. I saw you mention something, so I wanted to get back to that before I got too deep into other stuff. Colorblind, I'm a Taurus, Capricorn rising, and Libra moon. I am stoked about the universe having me fall into the very nice. Awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My son is a Taurus. And you have the Capricorn rising, which gives quite a lot of motivation, right? Quite a forward momentum to your Taurus energy. That's really cool. And I also dabble in astrology. I'm a polymath. I do a lot of different things. But that Libra moon hopefully offers balance, right, between those things. Beautiful, beautiful, friend. Thank you for sharing. Brahim, I find the content also helps know how we are being wired by family and partners unconsciously. Thank you for that reflection as well. And feel free, those of you who have the book or are reading the book at the moment, let me know if there's pieces that you like too, or something that I missed. Thank you. Because it's not just about propaganda and marketing. It's not just about the TV or the shit you see on social media or whatnot. It's about the entire narrative of the culture that gets written into you. When we're studying child development, there's a term for this. There's a term for this called enculturation. This is the enculturation process. Every single human, if you're born into any kind of culture, even if it's a small tribe, there is a culture there, and you will be assimilated to that culture, not from here, not because you chose to as a 2-year-old to do that, but because your brain is still unconscious at that point. And we'll talk about that later too in a second here. But because your energy, before you're fully conscious, before you're fully present for decision making, your body is protecting you. Your body is saying, okay, for us to survive in the world, we have to act like this, be like this, show up like this, defend ourselves like this, or push our energy out in the world like this. That's an unconscious programming that happens in your system, and it happens from every single direction, all the experiences. Your information is just constantly absorbing and responding to your reality. Thank you guys for the follows. Remember, follow me. Make sure you follow me again after the live. TikTok likes to remove my followers. Thank you. Colorblind, I'm actually doing a lot of shadow work in my life currently, and this resonates and aligns with, yay. I love with what you're doing. I love Okay, hold on. I was about to dive down another rabbit hole of shadow work. This is the throat chakra month. So I have been working to clear my throat chakra. And you guys may find that I'm like kind of extra jubilant here in my voice. I'm allowing more to flow through me when a lot of times I might be more hesitant to like, yeah. So I encourage you to share also in the text as well. I know you guys can't pop up and another Taurus. Hi, meow. Aquarius moon. I have a Gemini rising as well. My son has a Gemini rising as well. I think the Gemini also helps balance that Taurian. On a forward track, my life is geared towards helping others heal from trauma. Beautiful. And you know, that's has been my focus for most of my life, most all of my life. And I think the biggest lesson on my path, colorblind, was that I have to do my work first. I spent many, many years walking around in a place of ego, pushing the information I had on other people without actually practicing the things myself. So I was pushing information, maybe even knowledge, you could say. I had good things to share and to say and advice to give, but it wasn't from a place of integration. It wasn't from a place of wisdom where I had experienced the tools or experienced the process or done the shadow work to go, oh my gosh, this is what it's actually like to face your shadow. This is what it's actually like to astral project. This is what, you know what I mean? Like, this is not having actually done it. I was doing a lot of pushing that information out, thinking that that's how I was supposed to do it. It was operating from here, which is often operating from ego. The last only 4 or 5 years have I really sunk in, and it was because I didn't have any other choice. I went through something really fucking awful and traumatic and nearly completely lost myself. 0 spoons left, not even to fight myself, not even to help others or anything, nothing. And I had my kid with me still, and it was really, really, really chaotic maybe. But it was the thing that made me sit down and do it. I had no other choice. I just had to sit down and do it, or I wasn't going to make it through. And so I love, right? And I think we humans are meant to support each other and love each other and care for each other and help heal each other. We are mirrors for each other. We are pack animals, and we don't thrive on our own. We may survive on our own. So, but remember, right? This was the big kicker for me. It really, truly does all start from here. If I know what abundance feels like, I'm going to be able to see it in all the different places in the world. If I don't know what it feels like or looks like or smells like or tastes like or anything, I'm going to go, there's no abundance here when I'm surrounded by it, right? And that's it. It changes the way you show up for others. So I'm glad you're on that track, friend. That's how I got here today. Yep, exactly. All right. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Did anybody guess yet what this is? Thank you guys for the follows again. If you follow me today for the first time, please come back to my profile a little later and follow me again. Because TikTok likes to unfollow people for me. So we are doing a raffle today thank you, friend. We're doing a raffle today for my book. It's intentional marketing, right? It's an intentional marketing game. And as we were talking about before, if you have a journal with you or you've grabbed your journal, the inner light map from my shop on Patreon, I am Move with Change on Patreon as well as YouTube. Go follow me there too. Then I encourage you while we're doing this raffle to see if there is anything that comes up for you. That there's anything that comes up, especially if you can't join the raffle or you've got to go off TikTok to like recharge your things or something to afford the thing. Like sometimes going through the steps of being able to participate can trigger us and make us feel like the world's not abundant enough, or why was everything so difficult for me, right? So I want to use this time today as we're talking about the chakras, as the raffle is going on kind of in the background haphazardly because I didn't organize it because I'm reorganizing my life. I encourage you to sit with whatever comes up for you. I encourage you to notice and listen to those inner things that are going on and being like, ooh, wow, my stomach is starting to do this, right? And remember that we don't have to even attach a story. In fact, if you have your inner light map, there is a page on the inner light map that has the outline of the body in 4 different directions. And you can use that page to color in or make shapes and drawings or whatever around the different parts of your body that you're experiencing something, that you're feeling something. The Inner Light map is a $5 download. I think it's $5.55 on my Patreon shop. I don't do a lot of my stuff through TikTok because TikTok takes up to 60% of what I make. Yay! So the raffle is really, it's a fun way to kind of boost the live. And we're doing it again without manipulation, right? Without subversive tactics. We're doing it above board. We're going to do it fun, and we're going to also listen to how our system responds, because it's going to help us inform us like, oh, something about this situation is triggering this place or this place or this place or this place, right? Because this is how we enlighten ourselves. Okay, 555 angel numbers. I'm big on numerology, and 5 is the number for change. 5 is the number, it's like 5 is the open door between the beginning and the end. 5 is the way that we transform and transition. So that's why I really like I have a whole bunch of PDFs available on my Patreon shop, all for $5.55. And they have cheat codes, they have tools for balancing each of the chakras. Now, remember, we started in January with the aura. We went to the koshas and the elements, and then we went to the earth chakras and the feet chakras and the knee chakras and stuff like that. And then we went to the root chakra, and now we've been working our way up. Next month, we'll be in the brow chakra, crown chakra, soul star chakras. And then I have a surprise for you in December that I'm still setting up right now, and I'm really excited about it. I think I got triggered the other day. I get triggered like every day, friend. I'm still doing this work, right? This is a lifelong process of honing my instrument, of tuning my instrument so that it plays, and tuning my instrument so I can discover the song that I'm actually really, truly intended to sing, right? And as we walk along our path, yes, this is my book. It's called Energy for Sale, the energetic blueprint for consumer conditioning. As we meander through life, the enlightenment process is really just becoming more aware, because your awareness is light, enlightening yourself of the subtle changes, subtle differences, subtle opportunities that are available. Where is abundance underneath this fear, right? That kind of stuff. Enlightenment comes when we are able to shed light on all of the different aspects of self and meet them with, at the very least, curiosity and willingness, right? And that's what we practice here in this space and in our CAYA community. CAYA, CAYA, stands for Come As You Are. So welcome, all my friends. It was an amazing, intense one. I wasn't sure why, but my heart was beating so fast. You need those cheat codes. So the cheat code PDFs that I have in my shop are, I offer asanas, mudras, mantras, nutrition tips, herb and stone pairings. I offer energy healing practices, visualizations, sounds, that kind of, I think that's everything I offer, but it's like 3 pages of at least 2 solid pages of tools, and then like an intro page, and then like, yeah, no, I think that's it. Oh, and affirmations, I think, or reflection questions. One of those 2. I've got one for every month, and every month we've done so far. So if you go to my shop on Patreon, you won't see the one for the third eye, for the crown chakra, or for the soul star, or for December. You won't see the rest of the ones for the year. You've got to wait for those to come out. Another marketing tactic, right? Oh no, we got to be here. We got to show up next month because it'll be there. What is that one? Where is that one triggering, right? What is that one getting me? Oh God, I got it. I don't want to miss it. Fear of missing out, fear of not being able to connect or get the things that you want. Those are 2 lower chakras. Yep. Root and sacral chakra. I will say our culture does a mean number on the root and the sacral chakra. And then we end up seeing our gender differences as they are pushed by the culture in the solar plexus and the heart chakra. Both of those, or the stacking up of those 4 lower chakras, ends up manifesting through the way we express and speak about the world, the beliefs we have, our ability to see perspectives or not about the world, right? Narrow-minded or open-minded, even our ability to articulate our needs or to set boundaries appropriately, right? This is the place, our throat chakra is the place where we externalize the creativity, the creations that occur within our systems. It's the external gate There's a pathway specifically between the throat chakra and the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is the first place that we reach out and ask for something from the universe, right? We ask for help, we ask for support, we cry when we're infants. We seek cuddling when we're, a little bit older or whatnot, like those comfort sort of things. They all exist, or the energy for them manifests here through the sacral chakra. So that's the first place we bring energy in, and then it processes through our system, through our sense of self-esteem, will, power, right? And also our sense of compassion and self and connection and community, and then will manifest out through the throat chakra or not. Thank you all for the follows. The impulse gets you. The like impulse buying, like the things at the grocery store, you mean? Is that what you're talking about? The thing sitting by the somebody asked, I will definitely purchase that. Where can I? So I have a link in my bio. I'm pretty sure that'll bring you to my Patreon page. And on there, it's available on Amazon. It's called Energy for Sale, The Energetic Blueprint of Consumer Conditioning. And my name is Rev Deborah. Hi, for those of you who are new here, my name is Reverend Deborah. I'm an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, and your shenanigan shaman, as so dubbed by this lovely TikTok community. I love you all so much. Thank you for allowing me to engage in shenanigans for the last 3 years to more fully discover my truth. I've been able to find myself amid all the shenanigans. So thank you all for that. Amazon. So it's on Amazon. You can also, there's a bit.ly link for it on Patreon. Awesome. Okay. Welcome in, everyone. Where am I going to, is there really a spot to put it? Everything's so far away. Okay. Kay, are you back? Kay. I'm a little disheveled because we're, like I said, in the middle of a move. We're back in the RV right now. It was a hell of a time cleaning this motherfucker up and fixing things. Things are still broken, but that's okay. We're on our way there. I have my stones with me today for the throat chakra. A couple of these. Lapis lazuli, a nice blue stone. I see you, Kate. Oh man, now I've got who is it, Mr. Garrison or something? Okay, happening in my head right now. The brain's been real vocal. This one is a piece of lapis. I've got another piece right here, a darker piece of it. This is kyanite, blue kyanite, another good one for the throat chakra. Another one I really love for the throat chakra that is not blue. Do I have it? Did you leave it in your drawer? Is it hiding in there? No. The thing about moving. Okay, there is another kyanite, black kyanite, and black kyanite is really, really cool because I find it looks more like a fan than blue kyanite does, but it's similar in the fact that it's got all the like little, the way that it grows, right? It's very similar to this kyanite, but black kyanite is really, really good, in my opinion, for the shadow side of the throat chakra. It helps to literally, like a brush, like a broom, right? Clear out the energy space so that those lower vibration energies are being, reintegrated or dispersed through the space. So would this help with confidence? Blue kyanite is specific to communication. So and your confidence comes from your solar plexus. So if you want to boost confidence so that confidence it comes through your throat chakra more, you may need to do both of those things. You may need to spend some time with your throat chakra working on clearing that channel, and then also boosting your solar plexus so the energy can actually rise into your throat chakra. Because if your solar plexus is not, I don't want to use, we don't want to use judgmental words. Thank you, Turtle Bee. I'm trying to make sure that we refine the way that we speak, right? If it's uneasy, if it's wounded, I like to call it wounded because it's like it does this like blah, 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 sort of thing. You may be confident in some moments and then totally lose that confidence. And then it comes back out again and then it goes concave again. If it's wounded like that, I encourage you to balance the things out. Some of my favorite, let me see, some of my favorite mudras for for balancing the solar plexus. Well, the one I like the most is a really twisty one. So hold on a second. I can give you a really twisty one if you've got some dexterity for it. But a much easier one is a really common one that you've seen before, I'm sure, because there are people on in this screens who you see do it. So, okay, if you don't have the dexterity, this is a lot easier. So interlace all your fingers together except for the first two, your thumb and your index. Place this at your solar plexus and open up the space between the palms, right? So your hands make this lovely little shape here. This is the Uttara Bodhi mudra. Hold it here at your solar plexus. You can also rest it in your lap instead of holding it up higher. Remember, please, everyone, when you sit with your mudras, I encourage you to sit for a minimum of 5 minutes because it takes about 5 minutes for that energy to really circulate through your whole system. And again, this is where the inner light map comes to play. And go grab the inner light map off my Patreon page or just get yourself a journal, right? I'm not here to be like, you have to have this thing to do it. But the inner light map has pre-set up, pre-created pages for you to track these mudras, for you to write down what this is, how you do it, what the name of it is, how long you sat with it, whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon or in the middle of a meeting or wherever you used it, and to keep track of, oh, wow, when it was first thing in the morning and I used this, it felt so good. It felt like sunshine in my belly and made me warm and I got some tingles. But when I did that after lunch, it made my gut tense up. We got to be careful with things going in when our solar plexus or our sacral chakra. When we're working with both of those, it's really important to not do them on a hugely full stomach. I made that mistake sometime like last year. I was teaching a mudra that was meant for releasing energy, and I had just eaten breakfast, and I did this, like, it's called the Apana mudra to release energy, and I did this one, and I was like, oh, my entire gut just like shifted and pushed that not even digested food through my gut. Yeah, exactly. And I definitely felt the repercussions of it. So this is why I always remind you, in this space, you are your own guru. I'm not your guru. I'm not, I'm only a master of my own space, of my own life, of my own rhythms. And the purpose of me being here is not to tell you to lead me, is not to tell you you must rely on me for these tools. I am here to give you the tools so that you can find out what works for you and what does not. There's no book that can do that for you. There's no, I mean, maybe a class sort of could, right? Because it gives you the tools and teaches you how, which is why I'm sitting here teaching and sharing these things now, so that we can learn and grow and thrive together as a collective, because the more of us that clear these channels and clear this gunk out of here, the more clarity our systems have, and the more vibrant and more aligned we are. And when we resonate at those higher frequencies and more aligned frequencies, our energy expands, and that does affect the people and the world and the spaces around us. Did I miss a question there? Okay, so we were talking about that's right. We went a little off because we were talking about, you asked about confidence. So again, the Uttara Bodhi mudra. I encourage you to sit for 5 minutes with this one, either in front of the solar plexus or just resting in your lap is okay as well. And just note how you feel. This is one I really like to use in the moment instead of first thing in the morning. It is an energizing one, which can kind of wake up your system. Another option, actually, I love mudras. So if you get me going, I'm going to offer a whole bunch of mudras. One of my favorite ones for in the morning, first thing in the morning, that also boosts the solar plexus. It actually kind of gets your internal fire going, and not so much from the heat perspective, but like gets your body moving, wakes your body up, gets your energy flowing, right? Is the prana mudra. Even easier. Just put your first 2 fingers up and connect the last 2 to your thumb like so, and just rest that in your lap. You can just one of the things I'll do is I'll wake up. First thing I do when I wake up, if I know I need to get up and go, or, and rather than stay and snuggle, which I like to do, then I'm going to put the prana mudra. I'm going to lay there on my back in the prana mudra. I'm going to spend my 5 minutes in the morning with myself, listening to my system, allowing the dream space to kind of come and go, right? Allowing my system to wake up, and meeting it with curiosity and willingness first thing in the morning for those full 5 minutes, right? meet myself where I am, ask myself what I need, give myself a little bit of an energy boost. You would love a mudra for energy and motivation. There you go. Prana mudra. Prana mudra. And then we also have a mudra. Hey, Brian. So we have a mudra for this month that is a mudra for productivity. So the mudra for productivity works both by connecting the solar plexus up to the throat. So it helps clarify the throat and make the expressions more productive, which has to come from those lower chakras. So I'll share that one with you as well. I said that right as you showed it. Yay! So this one, which again is a throat chakra mudra, but helps the throat chakra by cultivating and pulling up that solar plexus energy. This one's called the Ushas mudra. And I did this one right off the bat when we got in the class because I was talking and saying something. So this one is literally just clasping your hands like this. Keep it nice and open, just the thumbs crossing on this side, and hold it here at the throat chakra. The big thing with the throat chakra mudras is you really want to keep this open space here. And there's several very similar mudras, and I'll show those to you all in just a moment. But this is the Ushas mudra, and this one's for productivity. It helps to allow the creation process to be more productive, which is a solar plexus boost and a clarifying to the throat chakra. Sometimes I find, though, if I start with this mudra, it can get kind of stuck in my throat. I can feel tension in my throat when my solar plexus is trying to push through a space that may be a little bit more, need more time to wake up or needs a little bit more attention, right? And you can give it attention by wearing stones that align with that chakra. You can give it attention by wearing the color of that chakra. The colors of the chakras are not made up, sort of just arbitrarily assigned. They are the same wavelength as the color you see. We do emit an actual light body that can be measured and can be seen. Okay, so if the productivity mudra, if Ushas mudra, first thing you use it is doing a lot of stuff in your belly, but not so much stuff in your throat, or it feels like it's kind of too much pressure for the throat, then I encourage you to do one of these two, either the Vishuddha chakra mudra or the Grantita mudra, which both, again, are super similar, but they are intended to open and clarify the throat chakra so that the energy can come through there. Okay. So the easier one of the two is actually, the easier one. We'll go backwards, right? We'll go from this one to interlacing the fingers over the top like this. And then the only difference here is that we make two interlocking circles, index and thumb, index and thumb. Keeping that space open inside as much as you can, hold this at the throat. You can enhance this mudra and the next one I'm going to show you by touching the tongue to the roof of your mouth and sliding it back as far as you can, keeping it on the roof of your mouth and sliding it back. Please make sure that if you start to feel tension in your tongue or in your jaw, or you're clenching your jaw while you're doing this, come back a little bit from the practice and just barely touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth. When we're first starting that, this is a muscle. Your tongue is a muscle, and you can do mudras with the muscle of your tongue. But when we first start, just like with our dexterity, we may not be quite as flexible. Right? So please don't hurt yourself. You are your guru. I can't be in your body. I can only offer the tools and encourage you to meet them with curiosity and willingness, and whatever comes up in your system, to trust the process, to listen to your system. Okay, so here is the Grantita mudra. Again, interlace those fingers over top, interlocking circles here with the index and thumb, open between the palms, and rest it here at the throat chakra. Again, you can take the tongue to the roof of your mouth, at least pointing back. And then if you can slide it even further back, that's going to help even more to open up the throat chakra. When you're sitting here, if you're a visual person, you can close your eyes and you can look into the throat chakra space and see the blue light that's in your mouth or your throat chakra here. You may see something dim. You may not see color at all. You may, as we practice these things, again, it's a skill, right? The more you sit with it, the more it will resonate within you. So the throat chakra is blue and it emits a blue light. I encourage you to sit with your throat chakra and see how that color feels, how it looks, if there's anything else going on in your system. If you're really needing clarity in your throat chakra, let's see. Wait, well, let's add one more mudra. We'll do one more mudra. I'm just throwing tools at you guys right now, so I apologize. If you want me to pause and you have questions, be like, wait. The next one, the Vishuddha chakra mudra. This is called the Vishuddha chakra. Here's my, sorry, I don't know if you guys can see this stuff, but I got this stuff back here for the Vishuddha chakra. So you've got the little details about it. The Vishuddha chakra mudra is just a little bit different, where we take the tips of our fingers back to back and interlace those. Close the hands around, again, keeping space, but this time bringing the heels of the hand together. And then create those interlocking circles again. This is a little bit tighter, yeah, with the fingers inside. But this really circulates the energy through that throat chakra. This is the most, for me, the most intense one when I'm trying to clear, when I'm wanting to clear, when my throat chakra feels blocked. Interlace the backs of the tips of the fingers back to back. Close that up, bring the hands together, bring the palms of the hand, the heels of the hands together, keeping that space nice and open and interlocking those first two fingers, the index and the thumb, holding here at the throat. Again, you can bring the tongue to the roof of the mouth and slide it back as far as is comfortable. Keep your jaw relaxed. You can also add any kind of breathing technique. My favorite one to use here is Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is a gentle constriction of the muscles to make a snoring sound, right? It makes like an ocean sound almost. So do this. Again, adding that tongue to the roof of your mouth, plus the gentle snoring or ocean wave sound of Ujjayi breath can do real big work on the throat chakra. So even, yeah, okay, stop adding things. Hold on, just rest for a second. This feels really nice. So I'm going to pause here for a second, and we're going to give ourselves a few minutes to sit with the Vishuddha chakra mudra or any variation that we just did. The more you add, the more, intense, I guess, the practice becomes. You can also hum. Okay, can you do while you eat a brownie? Probably not. I don't know. Can you eat a brownie with your hands like this? I think it's just like technical. Like technically, can you do that? How are you doing that? Do you have the brownie on top of your fingers here and you're like, because that's really adorable. It's in your mouth? Okay. Yeah, go ahead and chew. Go ahead and chew it. I don't think it's going to hinder your brownie swallowing process, but let me know. Let me know. Now we'll know. Thank you for educating us, Kay. Mudras are one of my favorite ways to address the chakras, because while wearing colors and stones are a really nice passive way to do that, sometimes they're not quite as, honestly, intense that I need, right? Or they're not as acute. And if there's a situation where I'm like, I can support my chakra all day long by wearing these things. But if I'm in a situation where my throat starts to feel all bound up and get that knot in my throat, I'm already wearing blue. What the hell am I going to do? Right? Or I'm not wearing blue and I'm out in public and all of a sudden this starts to happen. What am I going to do? Mudras are one of my favorite ways to just immediately address something. Breath work is one of my favorite ways to immediately address something. If your throat chakra is feeling like that and you don't feel comfortable in public, or you're in a situation where you can't do something like this, just breathe. Put the tongue to the roof of your mouth, push it back just a little bit, and notice the open space in your throat, an open space in your mouth. Monica, do you know which chakra moonstone supports? I've been really drawn to it lately. I had a moonstone. I know that moonstone supports, and I'm not the best person for rock info. But Moonstone I know is really important for transformation and the transformation of bringing us more fully into ourselves and working through the shadow stuff. So in that regard, I would associate it more so with things like the brow chakra, maybe even the crown chakra. Um, Potentially, because moonstone can have a kind of a bluish, right, or grayish sort of energy to it, then potentially also the throat chakra and the way that these things come through to help lead us forward and help us manifest. Third eye crown. Awesome. Thank you, friend. Monica, wow, that is hard. I actually made myself a little necklace with moonstone and to wear the first year after I left that really traumatic that situation that I went through several years ago. Um, Moonstone. I was drawn to it so much, and I didn't know anything about it, so I just started wearing it. Also, the heart chakra, it works for multiple. Moonstone is beautiful. Moonstone is absolutely beautiful. And that's the thing, too. Remember, too, everyone, when you go and if you get those PDFs in my shop on Patreon, Move with Change, that have the cheat codes in them for each chakra, remember, they're not an exhaustive list of every tool available for the chakras. They're just the ones that I picked for this year for our Inner Light series because they're ones I really like or new ones that I really want to practice. But I don't think I have Moonstone actually in any of those cheat sheets. I also have this guy, and I don't know what this is, but it reminds me of turquoise. And I wanted to share that turquoise also is a really nice one for the throat chakra because it's the throat and the heart chakra. So turquoise specifically works on this space here that's between my expression and bringing the energy through my heart. Whereas, like we were talking about other mudras, like the Ushas mudra, which brings the energy up from the solar plexus through the throat, right? Then turquoise or similar stones that are greenish bluish are going to pull that from the heart through the throat. We've detected inactivity during your current live. Complete the verification to continue your current live. I just TikTok does not like me giving you tools. Maybe if I sing, the AI won't know. Probably not if I sing like a musical, huh? Because then AI is like, I can still hear you. What the hell? They, like, you guys see, they did it to me last week. They do it to me just about every week at some point. They're like, there's inactivity. It doesn't matter that you've been almost constantly talking the entire time and showing tools and doing things and answering questions, and there's chat and hearts and shit like that going on. Inactivity. Okay. So, oops, my thing. I wiped off my sign here. Hi, friend. Okay. Let's talk for a little bit about the energy system itself, how the energy system functions, especially for those of you who are new here. This is an important piece to the foundation of how we move forward with doing this work, right? The tools are really important. The tools are really helpful. But hold on just a second. I'm going to turn the pump on for you. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. So we're going to talk about the how the whole system functions, how everything moves through us, and how it gets wired in. Right. So as we move through the chakras, if you have specific questions about the chakras, feel free to drop them out as we're going through the stages of the chakras. I will try to run through it somewhat quickly because we do it every single week. Remember, I have replays on YouTube. I Move with Change on YouTube if you want to see past classes. Renee, can I ask what symbol that tattoo on your inner ankle is? I saw somebody with that symbol yesterday. Oh, this shmee here? It's a rune. And briefly, I'll share that story. Actually, when I was a teenager or so, my upbringing was very chaotic and tumultuous and violent, unfortunately. Um, so I had heard somewhere that there was a rune for protection. And I was already into the esoteric and the whatnot and already doing that stuff. So I was like, great, I need a rune for protection. I need physical protection, right? So I would draw the thing with a pen or whatever, draw on my body with it again and again and again. And at some point, I started kind of engraving it, so to speak, into my skin. And it wasn't long after that I did that for a while until somebody, or I don't remember where the information came from. Oh, I think I finally read about it. You know how we do is when we're younger, I'm like, oh, I'll use that. And then I later actually read what it's for. And I'm like, oh, but when I read it, it has so much more to do with safety and security come from within, come from the way that we manifest it through our systems. So it talked more about energy and emotions and the way that we manage those things to protect ourselves, to heal ourselves, to set good boundaries and that kind of stuff. And I thought it was so cool because I had already been practicing energy work at that point. And I was like, oh my God, it's even more perfect. So when I got older, I went and had it actually tattooed. And I asked the tattoo artist to make it look a little bit more like a scar or a wound, so to speak, because of my own history, as well as because of the fact that I actually did physically try to engrave it into my skin when I was younger. So thank you for asking. I do have a lot of pieces. A protection rune, yes. Protection rune, but specifically the way that we protect ourselves is by raising our vibration, right? The best way, if you're worried about entities and negativity and whatever, and you're like, I want to protect myself, I'm getting all this stuff in my system. There's a lot of wards, right, that you can use to do that, and tools and protections. But the best and most effective one is to just raise your freaking vibration out of the muck and mire where that stuff wanders around. Shush, privacy. Arm birds. They are copied from the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull. They're copied from the front pages of the book. They're copied from the pages in the book Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach. We photocopied them and then laid them across my arm because it was one of the most powerful turning point books in my life. My mother read it to me when I was 7, and it made my brain explode in all the great ways. And I still swear by that book as for anybody who's starting out or wanting kind of a good with a fun little story. Thank you guys. Thank you all for asking. That's really sweet, you guys. What was the book's name? Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Hold on, I have a copy right here. By Richard Bach. I have bought and given away so many copies of this in my life. I'm actually surprised that I have one right now. So here you'll see. Let's see. Where's the one with all the birds? Oh, there it is. There. So it's these that have been copied, photocopied, and tattooed onto my arm, pasted onto my arm. Yeah. Welcome in, friends. I love that book. I have given away so many also. Then have you also read Illusions? Have you read Illusions? Because what comes after this is Illusions. And after Illusions is even more fun. If you are interested in a new author, he's not a new author. I shouldn't say that. Richard Bach has been writing books, I don't even know how long. I believe he is still alive. And he does live here in the Pacific Northwest. Not like I'm going to stalk him or anything like that, but maybe. But his books, the reason I love them, because he is able to tell a story with such simplicity and playfulness that you're not going to find big complicated words, you're not going to find confusing concepts, they're not going to be pages in these books that you have to like read 3 or 4 times, like what did you mean? It's just so straightforward, and you get through the story and you're like, wow, holy shit, I think the universe is different. Now how did that happen? Now we start over and read again. That's what I found with his books for me, is that he changes my reality. He changes my reality by opening windows in such a soft way, like a summer breeze coming through or a spring rain, right? And you're like, something smells different, something feels different, something's shifted. And you look for exactly where and exactly when, and you're like, wait, but that's just part of the wait, but powerful. Not yet. I love how they have special meanings for you. Thank you. Richard Bach is on my very short list of if anybody dead or alive that you could go hang out with, Richard Bach is one of those people, which is why I have to say out loud that I'm not going to go stalk him. I'm not going to find him because he also wrote in one of his books about a fan like being like, oh my God, hi. And he was like, ugh. I'm like, huh? But please. You're in the Pacific Northwest as well. Yay. Okay, so let's get into the energy system, the energy body. And I'm still interested if anybody is like engineer minded and wants to help me create a physical model. You know how when you go to the doctor or something like that, or they have STEM kits for your kids or whatever, they have the like thing with the body and all the organs or the bones or the skeleton where you can see how these systems work. I want to build one of these for the chakra system. So you're very welcome for this book recommendations. Dolores Cannon is yours. Yes, I like Dolores Cannon as well. One conversation would change my life like her books did. I'm worried that if I had one conversation with Richard Bach, it wouldn't change my life. I'd be so disappointed. Like I almost want to just keep the fantasy far away because he kind of sounds a little grumpy. And I don't know if my heart can handle the going and him being grumpy about me. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get into how this chakra system develops. And I'll use the front cover of my book for us to go through the chakras here. Let me turn off my pump real quick. Okay. Monica, I ordered some wood cutouts of the chakras, waiting for them to arrive, trying to make a model. Yay! I want like little LED lights and like little turning wheels and like, okay, so structure of the energy body, structure of the chakra system. We're just going to use them. We're going to focus only on the main 7 chakras and how that energy actually moves. Again, I have PDFs for this piece as well in the January or February on my Patreon shop. So most of us know we have a root chakra, right? Most of us know we got a throat chakra, a crown chakra, or brow chakra, right? What's the most famous chakra out there? I don't know, maybe the root chakra, the third eye, maybe, I don't know. So our systems go from root at your perineum. If you are sitting down right now, or you're sitting on your foot like me, you are sitting on your root chakra. The root chakra is the color red. It resonates at the wavelength of red. And its basic function, it's no basic function, the question of the root chakra is, am I safe? During the stage that your root chakra develops, the first 6 months to a year, remember it's flexible, just like all of our other development, physical development, cognitive development, social, emotional development. You know that every kid develops at their own pace. So there's a little bit of flexibility between these stages. And in my book, I wrote this as well. I gave you like a bracket of age, but again, remember that it just depends on personal development. So for the first 6 months to a year, when the body and the brain are kind of offline, we can't run around, we can't ask for help, we can't tell people what we need, right? If you've ever been a parent of an infant or if you've ever been taking care of an infant, there's this disconnection because you're like, how do I tell what you need? So what is the system asking? What is the system? Am I safe? Can I trust the universe, right? Am I safe? Actually, that's am I safe? Sorry, I already went up to the sacral chakra. So am I safe is the question of the root chakra. And whatever happens, this is a really important piece. Whatever happens during those 6 months to year, first 6 months to year of life is going to determine how the energy settles in your system. And I say settles or patterns into your root chakra and through your entire system. That means the same way that your heartbeat has a beat and your breath, right? And your beliefs have certain patterns and rhythms to them or what have you, your root chakra will figure out a pattern that keeps you the most safe. So what happens when we're in our root chakra, little squishy infant, perfectly fine in eternity and lovely little what have you, being rocked by mom or something like that, right? And then something happens. Let's say it's just a loud sound. My body goes, do you feel what just happened? When fear grips you, where does the energy go? What happens to your system? Not only does it tense, but it tenses up. Literally, we say that tense up because the energy pulls up from the root chakra to your second chakra. That's your sacral chakra. Where is your sacral chakra located? Give me your hang 10, right? Give me your shaka, sorry. Thumb out and your pinky out. Place your thumb inside of your belly button and then wiggle your pinky down to find the top of your pubic bone. That is your sacral chakra, your muffin top, this little squishy stuff right here. This is your sacral chakra. And your sacral chakra says, am I nourished? It says, I feel, right? It asks, is the world abundant? Why? What happens when I'm an infant? I'm laying there in my perfect squishy eternity, and then all of a sudden I get startled. My energy literally pulls up into my sacral and I cry, or I jump, or I react to the stimulus that pulled my energy up into the sacral. Now, that is often an impetus to ask for help. So I cry, right? I cry and I wiggle around because that's all I can frickin' do at this point. If that energy comes up, I cry and I ask for help in the only way I know how. If my environment is receptive to me, if my environment is generous with care, with comfort, with nourishment of whatever kind I need, then that energy will settle back down into the root. And we will develop a really nice response system of, uh-oh, I'm afraid, or uh-oh, something's missing. And I move up to my sacral and I go, the universe provided it for me. Awesome. I'm back down to safe. This, then, the development of the sacral chakra can start as early as 6 months, sometimes even earlier. Remember that trauma can cause our energy to reach up and up and up and up and up and up and up to find help. My system is trying to protect me and help and get help for me by pulling the energy up and up and up. So if I am in a really, hey, James, if I have a really traumatic or really upsetting or fearful or lacking or those kinds of things kind of environment when I'm younger, then my energy is going to move much faster through my chakra development because my system's like, holy shit, we're not safe. The world's not abundant. I don't have any personal power. Oh my God, I don't belong. Ha! And we got to run to protect our systems. We got to run and work at this really intense level. A lot of us are operating at this really intense level of trying to satisfy our needs because of the enculturation process, because of the way that we absorbed our culture and the narratives and the tactics of our culture, because our culture is currently intentionally manipulating your system to make you a better receptive to it, make you better easily puppeted by the system. Chakra, it's actually chakra, James. if we're gonna be real, if we're gonna be clear, it's chakra. Chakra means wheel, right? Means wheel because these wheels, these vortexes are spinning, are turning. And we'll get to that function here in just a moment. So we're in the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra can develop start as early as 6 months or even earlier if there's a lot of trauma in the body. But generally, it's going to start around a year, 2 or so. This is where, again, when we need something, we go and we ask for it. We cry for it. We see if somebody else will give it to us, right? We throw the spoon off the high chair and then somebody picks it back up. What is that? That's the sacral chakra saying, oh, you'll give it back to me? That feels so good. And then I do it again. Oh, that felt so good. Thank you. Those games that our infants do are learning and patterning their energy systems. So then what happens as we continue developing through our chakras is we move into the solar plexus. The solar plexus chakra. Let's locate the solar plexus. Drop those middle fingers. Keep your pinky and your thumb out again. Give me your Y. This time, place your pinky in your belly button and use your thumb to wiggle up to find the base of your sternum. That's right where your rib cage connects, right there, right at your diaphragm. This is your solar plexus, this big area right here, the bulk of your digestion. We call this this is our hearth. This is our inner fire. This is where our energy comes from. Our prana comes from in our systems, that is created and generated in our systems. So that solar plexus then begins developing again with the range of about 2, maybe 3 years old. What do we do in this culture what do we call 2-year-olds? What do we call that stage? The terrible twos. Why? Because that's the first time that the child's system starts to express this personal will in a different way than it was before, right? There was this playful, like, oh, spoon, thanks. Oh, spoon, thanks. Now you're going to get more, oh, I can just go get it myself. Oh, I can just push somebody to get the thing that I need. Oh, I can be louder and louder. And if I throw a really big tantrum, then you'll give me what I need, right? The energy from that solar plexus starts to amplify the power and the presence we have in our life. I like to say that if you really want to see God in its full expression, look at a 2-year-old, because they don't have those like, oh no, I should or should not. I'm here to experience and express and to be my full self. Now remember that expression is not yet balanced in the heart or by wisdom. So as children, this energy gets really chaotic and all over the place, right? So let's see, solar plexus. So let's give an example here. Or we were talking about the sacral chakra, right? If I get a good response from my environment, then it settles into a pattern that says the universe will take care of you. The people around you, there's comfort available, there's abundance available. It's okay to feel safe. It's okay to feel good. This is our center also for intimacy. So it's okay to connect with other people in a more physical way, or a more, in a less, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a connection here in the sacral, and then there's a different kind of connection here in the heart, right? This is where we first ask for the universe to provide for us and to keep us comfortable and safe and allow us joy in these things. Your sacral chakra also rules your joints and your ability to move and be flexible. So if you find your system is super stiff, I would encourage you to go right into that sacral chakra and do a little bit of sacral chakra work. So then we have, thank you, Goose. Hello. Then we move up into, solar plexus, the solar plexus. If in the process of growing and me first, what a lot of times, again, this is where our culture starts to really hone this energy. I'm in my solar plexus. I'm 2 or I'm 3 and I'm loud and I'm demanding and I do what I want when I want. It does not matter what anybody else says. And if you try to stop me, I'm going to scream about it, right? This is sometimes how those energies go with our children. If the response from caregivers or the universe is stop, no, don't, you can't, nah. If you keep running into this hard wall, your energy has 2 options. It can sink back into the sacral chakra, especially if that sacral chakra was balanced nice and well. Like, oh, now that I'm going and doing things, you don't like it. But if I just cuddle up in your lap and cry about it, then you'll help me with it, or then you'll do it for me. This sometimes is how we end up in certain patterns as children and parents, or later on in life, because that pattern gets patterned into my system. And I'd be more likely, I feel safer dropping back into, oh, please, somebody help me, than I do me doing it myself. Because the response from my environment was stop, no, wrong, bad. And my energy is just trying to keep me safe. So the energy says, okay, solar plexus is not where we can express a lot of energy. So let's drop back into the sacral and whine about it instead, maybe, right? Or the energy moves up again. And again, this is, I was talking about gender roles in the West and how these get developed. What do we allow oftentimes for our boys, for our little boys? A lot more of this. Hi, Katrina. A lot more of solar plexus. Boys are allowed to be rough. Boys are allowed to be loud. They're allowed to get into fights, right? All that kind of stuff. They're allowed to demand and to take and whatever. Oh, boys will be boys. But with girls, you're not allowed to be so loud, or you're not allowed to be so big or so rough or so what have you. So we oftentimes, again, will do one of two things or both, depending on your energy. You may move back into the sacral and say, okay, well, somebody just needs to take care of me then. Or I move up into the heart and say, okay, well, I'll just take care of other people then. And then we end up with this empath or martyr kind of energy of like my job, my sense of self and my value in life is directly connected to the things that I do for other people. Right? Anybody relate? Of course, yeah. And so, depending on the response from my environment, right, is how these energies will pattern in. That means that, let's say I'm an adult. How does this manifest as an adult? I'm an adult out in the world, and instead of going into my job interview with confidence, right, or with grounded confidence, with the ability to set boundaries and things like that, maybe I go in with this whole like, I'm going to be your best employee and overwork myself to make sure that you value me, and maybe even not for the right kind of pay, right? This kind of stuff. I might sacrifice myself through my heart chakra in that job or in that career, because instead of being balanced in these other chakras as well, all this energy is coming up here because my system learned this is what keeps me safe. This is also the place I like to note codependent relationships, twin flame relationships, right? These kinds of things come from our energy patterns puzzling together. We have narrative for it in our culture about how it's the you complete me, my better half, or how we basically become reliant on each other for the energy we're lacking. So again, if we're taking a stereotypical Western male, female, if they're born or raised with these kinds of gender roles, you're going to often end up with a masculine that has a lot more confidence and boisterous and be loud and whatnot. Thank you for the gifts, friend. And pushy, right? Even or even controlling and potentially mean or like arrogant sort of thing. That's how these kinds of things come from here, from the solar plexus, and from a lack of energy in the heart. If I learned at like 2, 3, 4 that I can get and do whatever I want by being pushy and loud about it, then why do I need to put energy into the heart chakra? This is successful. We're good. So oftentimes we might lack the stereotypical gendered male might lack the energy coming through the heart chakra. And not from this place, right? Because we don't have the cultural narrative for it. But then you find that wife or partner who's like, oh, I will take care of everything and take care of you. And, da, 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 da. And we end up in this cycle of codependency where I am pouring my heart out into my husband, and my husband is pushing out all that solar plexus into my system. And I am allowing myself to be under the control of this other person. I'm allowing them to be the more confident part, right? I'll say, oh, I feel so safe with him. Oh, I feel like it's so nice that he gets to make all the decisions and I don't have to do any of that. In a balanced system, I can make decisions for myself. I can set boundaries for myself. I can care for both my confidence as well as for the people around me, right? For myself and the people around me. But in our culture, we get that all puzzled up. So let's see. So we move into the heart. We move into the heart around, again, earlier or later, but the heart is always developing. It's the center of our system. Hey, Elijah. It's the center of our system, and it's where our heart generates our toroidal field. So your heart is always online, right? We will develop patterns, and those patterns develop more specifically between the ages of about 5 to like 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 sometimes, depending on how long we end up spending here. This is the stage in cognitive development where we switch to what's called playground politics. There's actually a book called Playground Politics that I really, really love if you're interested in learning about the psychology that is associated with the development. During this stage is when we are learning that, I can be friends with Jane and with Sarah, but Sarah and Jane can also be friends, and that does not exclude me. my brain has to shift in a way for me to understand that, for me to be able to perceive that. Before the age of about 7 or 8, my brain does not have the functionality to perceive other relationships outside of me. When I'm much younger, I see mom, I see dad, I see brother, I see grandma, I see whatever I see, but I don't can really understand that mom and dad have a different relationship outside of me. I am still very egocentric in those lower chakras. So when we come up here into the heart chakra is where we start to expand our understanding of connection, of relationships, of communities, and we start to figure out where we belong in all of that. Our sense of self, our sense of belonging, our sense of connection to something greater, right? Not just our little family circle, but something a little bit bigger. And we understand that with more complexity. That occurs alongside the brain shifting brain waves. So up until about the age of 7 or 8, the child's brain is almost consistently in the theta brainwaves. Theta is REM sleep time when you're adults. When you're awake, you're operating in gamma delta brainwaves. When you are asleep, you're operating in the theta brainwave. REM sleep time is in the theta brainwave, so active sleep, REM sleep time. Up until the age of 8, we're almost consistently in the dream time still, which allows for all of this wiring to go on in our subconscious, right? The brain is not even developed fully enough yet to conceive of other relationships, to conceive of, for example, object permanence. We don't get object permanence. Our brain does not develop object permanence until several months into a year or so, or 18, depending on our development. Again, depending on our development, this can happen much quicker or take longer. Just comment. Carlos, you didn't know that? That's why I like to share these pieces. This is the big magic of what I discovered after 12 years in university, and then several years on top of that, doing workshops, studying on my own, taking other classes, and certification programs and whatnot to kind of get this full. I wanted to see the whole elephant, right? And what really clicked for me was when I was studying human development and wellness across the lifespan in college. And I also already knew about this energy, the energy work and the energy body to some degree. And I started being like, click, 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 click. Holy shit. So I talk about it in my book, Energy for Sale. The first section of my book outlines everything we're talking about today. So if you're like, oh my God, I want to remember this, I'm like jotting notes down. Wait. You can also just go grab my book. Again, it's called Energy for Sale, The Energetic Blueprint for Consumer Conditioning. That's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the structure of the system and how the system gets wired by your culture. And everybody goes through this. You are not exempt. Every single person, by way of becoming human in any kind of culture, is going to adopt the culture unconsciously. That's how we stay safe from like a basic biological evolutionary standpoint, right? Like if the baby doesn't fit in with the culture and they're too weird or they don't respond or they can't cry for help or these other things, they get left behind. It doesn't, right? You don't survive. You don't thrive like that. So Brahim, the book is a great primer, and then come back here for integrating information. Thank you, friend. I really tried as a Virgo and as a throat chakra associated sign, right? Virgo and Gemini are the signs that rule the throat chakra. So if you have heavy Virgo and Gemini in your chart, you are going to have a lot of work to do with your throat chakra during your lifetime, or there's focus, let's say, in your throat chakra. I like to be wordy, as you can tell. So it took a good bit of time for me to pare it down to little paragraphs and bullet points so we could just get on the same page about what we're talking about. Andrew, Gemini sun sign, work with that throat chakra. What's the Aries chakra? Aries is I always think of Aries in the root because the root is the first, but Aries can also be in the solar plexus. Typically, we associate Aries with the root because it's red and fire, but also, again, in the solar plexus. So these aren't all, these are associations versus, let's say, the color of the chakra is the color of the chakra. There are different associations with each chakra. So, for example, Aquarius can also have heavy throat energy. So as an Aries, I would encourage you to focus on root and solar plexus chakra because those are going to be really important for you to balance these upper chakras. There's a lot of motivation. There's a lot of push. There's a lot of inertia with the spark. Aries is the spark. It's the first sign that wakes up the entire zodiac, right? They're ready to go and they're moving. They're a cardinal sign. They start shit, right? They real quick response system, that kind of stuff. Lots of fire. So make sure that you balance that solar plexus. Make sure that you ground it in safety and trust so that you can build that solar plexus nice and balanced on top of it. Aries, you do have a tendency to end up pushing a lot of energy through your solar plexus because it feels good. You're a fire sign. So you push all of this through here and you're like, yeah, I've got the horns. I can fucking push my way through things. I love you, Aries. But this is your, right? This is your big work with this Aries. And this, the reason we talk about astrology as well is because astrology, numerology, human design, any of these other lenses we can look at, they tell us what are uh, energetic patterns, tendencies that we already come into life with, right? We know that children don't come in like blank slates. They come in with their personality, temperament. That's the word I was looking for. Your sign, your astrology or variation thereof will give you a better idea of your temperament. As a Virgo and Gemini, Virgo sun, Gemini rising, I spend a fuck ton of energy right here. My moon is in Pisces. So I spend a lot of time up here. And it took me decades to reconnect with my body and to learn how to distill the energy up here, down here. What was I? I started this today's live talking exactly about that, about how it took me years of telling information and giving knowledge and sharing it like this to go, oh shit, I didn't even practice it. I didn't pull it down into physiological, energetic understanding before I then shared it. And since doing that, just in these last 4 or 5 years, it has completely changed the way that my throat expresses these things, that the clarity with my third eye, the process of the energy up here is so much more balanced because there's still the downward flow as well as the upward. You are dynamic systems. You have pranic energy, aponic energy circulating in Varuna, all sorts of different variations of the directions of your energy. If you want information about the energy systems and the elements in your system and how they flow around and how they move and the vayus in your system, again, that is actually it's in my book, but it's also in a cheat code, a PDF on my Patreon page, Move with Change on Patreon. I'm going to catch up here really quick and then we'll get back to privacy app. You enjoyed your time. Awesome. We'll see you later if you're going. Otherwise, thank you for joining. Pure, how do you say that? P-O-T-R. P-I-O-T-R. Pure. Sorry. It would be awesome to balance all. Absolutely. And there are practices that do just balance your entire system. A really quick, if you're still here, hopefully you're still here to catch this tool, a really quick way, a mudra to balance all the elements in your system, all the elements, and therefore your entire system is called the Shukri mudra. And you probably already do this unconsciously. Bring all the fingers, gather them to touch the thumb. This is the Shukri mudra, and you can just hold this upright in your lap. You can hold it at your heart. You can talk with it all you want, but this is balancing all the elements. Also, why some cultures eat with their hands, because it helps to balance all the elements and assists in digestion and things like that. Shukri mudra, one hand or two hand to balance the entire system. Breath work, pranayama practices, movement practices, especially big full body stuff. All of those things are going to help you balance all of the chakras at once. Remember, your energy system is dynamic, it's fluid, it's very malleable. It's more malleable than any other physical part of you. So you can sit in a practice or a meditation or do whatever practices you're working with, and you can experience your chakras all in alignment. And then they fall back out. Because why? Because we are patterned. They are patterned to interact with the internal and external world in specific ways to keep you safe. Not to hurt you, not to distract you, not to make it difficult, but just to keep you safe. We have to switch that narrative too so that we stop seeing our bodies and our systems as enemies. What's the one for Taurus? Somebody asked about Taurus or colorblind. You ask, the chakra for Taurus is the heart. Taurians spend a lot of energy balancing the heart, but also the root. being able as a Taurus to pull the energy up from the root and express it through the heart is a really important practice for you, and be able to have both an external and a reception, because as a Taurus, a lot of times we can develop a kind of concave, a kind of pull, a draw from the world, from our heart, because we like to receive. So if we get that in the sacral or sacral and we get stuck in the sacral, then the heart is also going to drag energy back down to the sacral, because it feels so good to just sit here and be taken care of. This is where we get the like selfish narrative sort of thing, or a stubborn narrative of Taurians, where they're just going to sit there in the field. No matter how many times you poke them, that bull is not going to move, right? So be remembering as a Taurus to pull energy up, and to work pulling that energy up. Katrina, happy early birthday. Thank you, my friend. Okay, I'm catching up here. I've got a lot of messages. I am going to skip just a couple of things. You do struggle with that a lot. Andrew, I still don't ground enough. And if you've got signs that are up here in the upper chakras, grounding is one of those regular practices that you really, really, really need to focus on. And again, I walk barefoot all the time. I oftentimes forget my shoes to go to the store because I am always barefoot. And it's because I know that my system needs an intense amount of pulling that energy back down. I also have physical trauma and physical pain and things like that have manifested from being outside of my body for so long. So there's the balance of needing to ground, but also being fearful or feeling uncomfortable in my physical body. So I encourage you to go softly, to do things that are fun and playful, maybe dancing, stomping, jumping up and down, trampoline jumping, hula hooping, anything that gets your body moving and flowing and connecting to the ground or to the earth. Same thing, just laying down, right? Another way to ground your energy can be to use the prana mudra that we talked about earlier, which goes like this: first two fingers up, the last two fingers connected to the thumb, and put that directly on the earth. Point it down towards the earth and say, and make this your connection to grounding. Turtlebee, I just read yours. I know I'm supposed to be using my voice, but I'm not sure in what way. The immediate picture that popped up was, you know how Ariel in The Little Mermaid, when her voice is being taken, she does this and I wanted to encourage you immediately to just make sound. Start by just making sound and feel what sound. It doesn't have to be words, it doesn't have to be song, it doesn't have to be in front of anybody else. Just be in your voice space, in that throat space. And if it feels sticky and stuck, use some of your mudras. Actually, Turtlebee, I'm going to go ahead. I'm 20 some messages behind, guys. I'm trying to catch up here. Hold on. But I want to offer a mudra here for clarifying our truth. The throat chakra is also about truth. We were doing the development of the system, right? We got to the heart, about connection, color green, ages like 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we move up into our throat chakra. The throat chakra can start as early as 8, 9, depending on where our energy is, up until maybe 12 or even a little bit later. The connection between the heart, between my truth, right? The essence of me, and being able to express that truth through my throat chakra is, of course, built on the balance of these lower chakras, but also requires a quality connection between the two. So a mudra that I really like for this quality connection between the two, and for acknowledging the gift that's in your heart. There is a gift, there is a song, there is a bit of magic, there is a treasure that you own, that exists, the essence of you that exists in your heart, that is untouchable by the material world, right? This is what we shelter within ourselves. This is what we eventually, hopefully, can open up and offer to the world. To do that, we have to acknowledge that it's there in the first place. My favorite mudra for spending time with that gift, that little gold nugget in your heart, is called the Shanka mudra. The Shanka mudra goes like this. Left thumb up, right hand wraps around that left thumb, and then you bring the fingers of the left hand either over top, just over top of the fist as best you can. You can do it over the fingers this way. You can turn it a little bit and do it over the knuckles if you need to, but those fingers touch the thumb at the top. So it creates this kind of like flame lantern looking deal. And on the inside is that left thumb, your bit of magic, your little bit of gift to the world. This is called the Shankha mudra. I encourage you to hold this not quite at the heart, not quite at the throat, but right in between. For me, this is one of those mudras that as soon as I hold it, I feel it moving things. Remember that when we sit with our mudras, you want to sit for a minimum of 5 minutes to get the full effect. And I encourage you to meet it with your full attention. Anytime your mind wanders off to something else, or you notice your thoughts are busy, just return to the mudra or the sensations you're experiencing with the mudra. Even if your mind's like, oh my God, I feel it, just return to the sensations in the mudra and allow it to do its work. The Shankha mudra. And that's going to help that gift within express through the throat chakra more. Oh, Hashgar, how do we enter the raffle? Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. See, I said I was going to do a raffle today, and I didn't prepare for it. I'm in the middle of a move and my entire life is shifting somewhat unexpectedly and very quickly and without a clear direction yet. So it's a little bit unnerving and very distracting. So if you want to enter the raffle for the book, I am doing a raffle today. There's a little square here on the screen on TikTok. If you're on YouTube and want to join us for the raffle, the instructions are right here. It's the Crystal Dreams Crown. It's also my live goal gift thing here. I'm just learning how to use all the TikTok things because I don't like to use these things, but we're doing it for the raffle today. If you want to enter the raffle, you got to send that gift and I will put your name on a sticky note because I love sticky notes. And we're going to put them all in a hat and somebody will win a signed copy of my book. Yeah, and it equates that gift equates to like $5.30 something cents or something like that. So I figured $5 tickets for the raffle. Again, we're doing it with mindfulness. If you want to join the raffle, you're welcome to. So if that gift is like out of range for you to do so, I encourage you to sit with whatever comes up in your system regarding that, especially to even journal about it and go, oh, I really wanted to join the raffle, but the gift that's chosen, I can't afford, or I don't know how to get those coins, or whatever comes up for you. Or if something positive comes up for you, like, oh my God, this is really exciting, right? And it feels good to feel that in your solar plexus or in your heart or in your throat chakra. Sometimes when we're unable to participate or for some reason, or there's a barrier that keeps us from doing so, we end up feeling blockages versus if it's a nice flow of energy, we're going to feel expansive and open, right? Tension is the big kicker there. It's the red flag there. But him, you put rubber bands on your Shukri mudra? That makes me want to try that. That seems so exciting. You're all very welcome. Artless Charmer, can headstands help with inverting the flow? I fully support headstands. Actually, I fully support inversions, let's say. I actually offered somebody else who may still be in here or not to guide them through the inversion practice that I like the best. You actually create a foundation with your forearms and hands so that your head never actually touches the ground. It's way better for your neck and way better for your shoulders and back to do it as such versus the old thing that we learned, put your head on the ground and make a tripod with your hands and put your knees on your, you know what I'm talking about? Put your knees on your elbows and then try to get up. That's so much pressure on the neck. Yeah. So headstands, or even just inversion practices, even just down dog, even just, or bridges or things like that, even just laying on the side of your bed or over the couch and laying upside down. I encourage you to do that because it does get that energy flowing differently. Or circulation. Katrina, birthday twins, you're September 4th. Nope, I'm 9/9. All right, Liz, if we were stuck in the lower chakras, I imagine bringing the energy back to the heart. To hands and feet in the fresh soil. Yep, yep. I'm catching up, guys. Colorblind. I'll see you later. Yay! Come back soon. We'll be back. We'll be back on next Saturday. Okay, I've caught up on comments. If I missed anything important and I haven't answered you quite yet, and you wanted an answer or something, please feel free to pop it back out and let me know. So yeah, if you want to join the raffle for a signed copy of my book, you got to send the little Crystal Dreams crown there. And oh, that's right. We were talking about inversions and getting the energy back up. So you don't even have to invert. You don't even have to do an inversion to get the energy flowing. One of my favorite breathwork practices first thing in the morning, because oftentimes my energy feels like it's more dense or kind of muddy. You know, like when the cup of water settles and there's like sediment in the bottom of the cup. When I wake up, that's how my energy feels. So my favorite way, again, I did mention using the prana mudra is one way to get that moving. So the prana mudra is specific to the pranic energy. Pranic energy is moving your energy up and through the crown. Aponic energy is moving your energy down into the earth, and grounding is what we do with aponic energy. So instead of having to completely invert yourself, right, or go upside down or do these other practices where we might fall down or hurt ourselves, we can also just use the spine to undulate the spine back and forth and back and forth. And so that can look like something like this. I'm just trying to turn a little bit so we can get better views here. All right. So sometimes I'll do it sitting on my knees. I'll do it sitting on the edge of the bed, and I start small. It's just little cat cows, right? First, like send your belly button forward, lift the chest a little bit, and then push it back. Pull the belly button into the spine and curl the shoulders. Open the shoulders, belly out. Exhale, belly in, shoulders in. Move a little bit bigger, tip the tailbone out. So you're going to wag your tail a little bit. So you get your tailbone tipped out. That feels really nice in the low back. Pushes the solar plexus out, opens up the heart, allowing the shoulders to roll back. Lift your chin just a little bit. Inhale. And exhale, push all of that back. This time also tucking your tailbone and tucking your chin in. The bigger you do this movement, right, the more movement you're going to get through that energy and circulation. It's going to activate the chakras. This is moving your entire chakra system, right? The major parts of the chakra system. You're also moving the spine. You're massaging the spine, which makes that the spinal fluid move more freely. That spinal fluid also has its own pulse. The spinal fluid is what connects and comes from, right, or interacts with the pineal gland. I found it. The pineal gland. The pineal gland is the back of your third eye. So since we're talking about the development of the chakras, here we go up from the throat chakra, which we're doing now at like 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm learning to speak my truth. I'm learning how to articulate my thoughts and needs and wants and feelings and all these things, right? Depending on my conditioning previously. That's how this is going to manifest. Then we move up into the third eye. Sometimes we get stuck here and we don't go anywhere else. Does that mean your third eye is totally blocked? No. You are an instrument. Your system may be gummed up, maybe a little tense. The pathways may be a little bit narrow, but your energy is always flowing through every single chakra. It just may be a little bit like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like this. I don't know, like soft, move, like not defined. There we go. It may be very undefined. Hey, Wild Fox, how are you? So up into the third eye chakra. Now we're talking about teenage years, potentially preteenish, but we're moving into like higher thinking. This is when you move into the formal operation stage in your cognitive development. And that means your brain has expanded even further to be able to understand the world around you in more complex terms. This affords us the opportunity later on for wisdom. That wisdom does not become balanced, clear wisdom unless it has a foundation from the lower chakras. So if you're one of those people who goes, I don't know, I can't listen to my intuition, I can't visualize, I don't know if I can, I don't know where my purpose is, or like you feel very lost and confused, or you deal with a lot of racing thoughts or a lot of like aggressive thought processes, that is an indication that either the throat chakra is deficient, not enough energy getting up to the throat chakra or to the brow chakra, or it can be excessive, too much energy in the throat chakra. Dang it, I'm here in the brow. Too much energy in the brow chakra. Same if we have too much energy in the throat chakra, too much air energy in the throat chakra, it can cause all those busy mindness. But without the energy balance in the brow, or too much energy in the brow, that can cultivate even more of the like what if and imagining other scenarios and getting bombarded with things like totally unrelated thoughts or feelings, or the what's the word I'm looking for? There's the other term about like um, not obsessive thoughts. I just call them obtuse thoughts, right? You're driving down the road and all of a sudden you think about what would happen if you got in a car accident, right? Or you're talking to somebody and all of a sudden you imagine licking their face, right? Those they're like, the heck? It shows imbalance. Intrusive, thank you. It shows imbalance in the brow chakra, but it also can be instigated by the throat chakra, and it will be definitely more thwarted when we don't have balance in those lower chakras. Present moment, yesterday gone, tomorrow not known. I always like to say that, right? Now truly is all you have, because your brain actually stores memories, dreams, other people's experiences, movies, stories. All of these things are stored in the brain in essentially the same way. And the retrieval of these things is essentially the same. So as far as we can tell, yesterday was a dream. And tomorrow is not guaranteed, or definitely not determined yet, right? Depending on your dogma, maybe it is determined, but you can't be sure of what's happening. It's not guaranteed that it's going to come to you. So where do we meet ourselves when we need support? Where do we support ourselves? Now, in the here and now. This is why I teach tools like mudras, breath work, things that don't cost you anything, things that you don't have to remember to bring with you, right? I forget my stones all the time, but when I'm in the moment and anxiety grips my solar plexus, or my truth can no longer come through when I really need to speak it, then I've got my mudras, I've got my mudras, I've got my breath to clear and open those channels. And I want to add, actually, at this moment, because this is a really important piece. We worry that being in the present moment, that we can't access our healing, or we need something else, or we need somebody else for our healing, right? Or I have to remember who did the thing to me, or what the story was. I have to remember the details of the narrative to be able to heal it, right? The reality is that everything you need for your healing is alive and well in the patterns of your system. The hurt little kid that wasn't allowed to feel successful or autonomous and was constantly thwarted for being too loud or whatever it was, that kid still lives in you, in the way that you speak, in the way that you hold your body, in the way that you think about others and about the world, the way that you address others and yourself, right? If we lack confidence here in our solar plexus, you are very likely to have that negative self-talk that's sitting there and perpetuating the same situation, the same imbalance that occurred when you were much younger. Why? Because my system is just dumb and it doesn't like, because my system is just mean and it wants me to repeat the same horrible situation? No, that pattern was the best way to keep you safe when that happened. And since we didn't upgrade it yet, the system goes, this is how we stay safe, right? Think about the, grandpa in the hardware store, and they don't have the nuts and bolts and things that he needs, and he starts throwing a tantrum and yelling at people, and you're like, grandpa. Or you see the lady in Starbucks throwing a fit about the wrong milk, and you go, wow, what are you, 5? What are you, 2? What, you're throwing a tantrum? That's so childish. that child is alive and expressing itself through that moment, because that's the best way her system knows, or his system knows, how to keep them safe. When we switch that narrative, when we shift that, we suddenly realize we are full of allies. We have our guides and our gifts and our tools available to us. They're just oftentimes doing jobs that are not the best suited jobs for them. My confidence turning against me and telling me how I'm not allowed to express these things or do these things, or I shouldn't be too confident, or I shouldn't set boundaries, or I shouldn't be whatever. That is simply a message to keep me safe. And that energy, when it comes back into balance, no longer harasses my mind, because it is balanced in my solar plexus. Where do you find balance? Where do we find, okay, the analogy. The analogy is when you're trying to stand on one foot. Go ahead and try if you've got the space to do it right now. When you try to stand on one foot, it's your entire body tenses and releases, trying to find center. That's what your system is doing. If you are out of balance, your system is tensing and releasing, or fucking holding tension like on for dear life, to try to get balance, to try to find balance. It seems like the opposite, right? It seems like that's not how you find balance. But when you're trying to balance on one foot, how does your system find balance? Tense and release, tense and release, tense and release, tense and release. As soon as you find balance and your system goes, you may fall out of balance again. But if you've ever stood on one foot and found that moment of centeredness, you know what I'm talking about. Tension releases. Thank you, friend. And all that's left is intention. My intention is to stand on one foot. My intention is to find balance. And until I do, I'm going to experience constant tense and release, because that's how my body finds balance. This is an important piece. This is an important piece because in the West, we have this narrative that our system is out to get us. Our emotions are bad. Our ego is awful. We should amputate the ego. We should shove the emotions down. We should just control the mind by force. That is a very material, external way. If you're going to build a house, you got to do that with material things and hammer and nails and muscle and push, right? You got to do that to build a house. Your energy body is not the material thing. So you don't address it that way. And oftentimes we can be misled by a culture that says, oh, you got to use force and control in there. Have you ever tried to grab the wind? Tell me you can control the wind by grabbing it. Yeah? No? Because your energy is not material. It's not the most dense part. Your body is the most dense part about you. But we know that the universe is made up of far more ether, ethereal, what have you, than it is dense matter. The dense matter in the universe is just a fraction of what the universe is actually comprised of, right? Your system is the same. Okay, so Faith, I thought that was because of ADHD or because I'm weird. So, I mean, there's this whole, like, we can kind of go down a rabbit hole too of like how our culture vilifies and turns things into things like mental illness, when in reality they're your systems responding to an unbalanced world outside. When the outside world is dangerous or scary or out of balance or pushes these false narratives and denies you your experience of truth, your system is going to be constantly looking back for truth. Your system wants to be balanced. It's not comfortable to be out of balance. When you're out of balance, there is tension in your system. Try squeezing your fist and holding it tight. And I'd like to see how long you can hold your fist tight before your muscles become sore, before your fingers hurt and your hand hurts and your shoulder and your neck starts to hurt, right? Because you're not supposed to experience constant tension. When we live in a culture that pits you into a 45 fucking degree angle where you can barely get off the ground and you spend your entire life in tension without being able to find balance, this is what's normal. And when they call that normal, Those of us who are like, I'm not doing that. That sucks. I want this. There's something weird about you. There's something wrong with you. No, you're not special. You can't have this, right? Or if it's so much pressure for our system, they're like, no, fuck it. I'll just fall. I'll just stay down here. Forget it. I'm not doing it. Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you're what have you. Oh, you've got mental illness. Why? Because we're not interested in running 45-degree angles, screaming through life for our life. But that's how the system wires your system so that you can oblige, because they need your resources. They need you running fast. They need you consuming the toxins so that they can, yeah. So that's why, again, I wrote my book, Energy for Sale, The Energetic Blueprint for Consumer Conditioning. We are doing a raffle here on it. To enter the raffle, you've got to send one of those Crystal Dreams crowns. They're for $400, which equates to about $5 per raffle ticket. You're raffling for a signed copy of my book. If you don't want to wait for that, or you don't want to enter the raffle, they are available on Amazon for $22, and they're print on demand, so we don't run out of any supply. So you're welcome to go get them on Amazon. Go get it on Amazon. One really fun piece about this to remember as well is that I have this QR code right here in the back. The only way for you to access this QR code is by owning a physical copy of the book. I don't have an audio book yet, and this is part of why. This QR code is a dynamic QR code so that I can change it. Right now, it goes to my Patreon page so you can find cheat codes, classes, workshops, and keep up to date about the things that I'm doing. Soon, it will also lead you to a Zoom call. That will be a monthly Zoom Q&A session and practice session. I'm really excited about this, and this may end up waiting until next year so we can get moved and settled, and I can finish our Inner Light series this year. And then next year, we will probably in January start doing at least a monthly session, and that's free for anybody who's bought the book. Totally. Oh, snap, right? I'm really excited about doing that, but I think this is going to be the next incarnation of let's work together on these things. Let's actually walk ourselves through the process of aligning our systems. We want to do that this year, and it went a little haphazard because life is that way, right? What it was the best way to make the universe laugh? Tell it you have plans. I had plans this year. So again, if you want to enter the raffle, you can do so with the Crystal Dreams crown. And I will put your name onto a Post-it note, and then we will pull a winner. Yeah, probably later today or something. I'm in the middle of moving. Okay. So brow chakra. Brow chakra starts. So we're talking about connection, relationships, what I give out to the world. Throat chakra being my center for truth. It's also the center for communication, obviously. Thank you, Juliana, for the gift. And it's also my ability to receive someone else's truth and their opinion or their what have you, right? To be able to have good listening skills. Also associated with the throat. That also means that your hearing is associated with the throat. Your sinuses can also be associated with both throat and your third eye. Your jaw and your mouth and anything like issues with teeth and bad breath and that kind of stuff can be associated with, or can be, and also can be, I have to use the right word, addressed through your throat chakra. Why do we do this, right? Energy is the thing that permeates all layers of the self. So we can balance all things through the energy system. So now we're in our brow chakra. The brow chakra is in the teen years or so. This is when my mind comes into, my brain starts to function in those higher formal process, formal operations. And I'm able to perceive things like, it's great to connect mind with heart. That's right. These are the things that connect me to more complex thinking processes. And that allows my energy to eventually cultivate wisdom, as long as I've got the foundation down here for that wisdom. If there was trauma or things in my system that caused my system to push energy way up, I may still experience spiritual awakening early. I may experience a kind of intuition, or be a very visual person, or feel like I've got a lot of information in my brain, or very focused on acquiring information into my brain. This is this can be a excess in my third eye chakra. And again, this is my system trying to keep me safe. If it wasn't safe to be in my lower chakras, my system's like, okay, well, I got to use my superpower of third eye to be able to see past the physical realm, because the physical realm is so unsafe or so scary. Then we move up into the crown chakra. The crown chakra, usually you finish your development through the crown chakra, and that can go as late as mid 20s or so. Your crown chakra is obviously your connection to the divine. So it's something, and it's also to the collective. It's your experience of where do I belong in the entire world family and beyond. Where am I going? What's my purpose? Where do I self-actualize? How do I bring my energy all the way up to the top? Remember that we got to bring our energy all the way back down to the root too. So we have to have a nice flowing system going up and down, is how our systems are meant to operate. One piece that I have not shared yet about the structure of the energy system is that your chakras, as you know, have a front location, right? As we've gone through, your chakras also have a back. So your root and your crown are the front and back, or top and bottom to your system, right? These are your poles. Then your sacral chakra, your solar plexus chakra, your heart chakra, and your throat chakra all have the back immediately behind it. So anybody have stress in their upper back, shoulders kind of stuff, right? Maybe deal with pain or discomfort, or have a chronic condition like I do, or got vertebrae out of place or what have you in your spine. All those things are going to be related to that corresponding chakra. Between the back, upper back issue, between the shoulder blades, that's your heart chakra. That's the back of your heart chakra. Thank you, my friend. When we talk about shadow work, I perceive shadow work, I've understood shadow work as addressing the back chakra. Literally, right? When you're standing in the light, you cast a shadow. That shadow must be addressed, because the shadow, our systems are meant to look forward like this. So we oftentimes, especially in a culture that tells you to ignore your shadow, that your shadow isn't important and doesn't mean anything, it's just because you're standing in the light, what have you. Oh, we should just be all love and light and totally turn our backs on our shadows. The back chakra can manifest and hold or process the shadow part of self, which is why when you're doing shadow work in this space, I encourage you to make sure you're doing physical stuff for this space, even if it's just bathing and extra massage, or like scrubbing on your back or soaking kind of stuff. But I encourage a lot of like those undulating kind of movements, cat cow movements, things that are really going to get your spine going. We often, again, in the West, we're very egocentric. We're very brain centric, that we think that all of our existence and all of our focus is here and out forward. And when we do that, we literally leave behind parts of us that need to be maybe picked up or taken care of or brushed off or what have you. So the back of that chakra is the opposite energy of the front. And this is the fun part. Is how the vortexes of chakras turn. So we're going to do this together. I encourage you, if this is your first time, to point both your index fingers up, and we're going to do what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to do a movement that shows how the chakras turn and why. So we have our central energy channel, right? That top and a bottom, root and crown. That's called the Sushumna channel. That's the main channel. I think of it like a flute. If you have a flute, you have a main channel where that air goes through. That breath of life is the yin and yang energy, solar and lunar energy, feminine, masculine energy coming into the heart and manifesting your toroidal field of energy. That's how you come into creation, is because that energy has to come through and express through the heart and through your other chakras, depending on the balance of all of them. So if we got our pointer fingers here, we also have two minor channels called nadis, N-A-D-I. The nadis are the flowing, interlacing movement that goes between each of the chakras. So think about a simple pulley system. Wow, shadow work affects the back and neck. No wonder I've been having more issues lately. Remember, too, that issues are an opportunity to express. Sometimes pain or a fever is the healing crisis we need. So I encourage you to offer extra softness, extra compassion, extra juiciness when you're feeling that extra tension in your system. If it comes up, it's ready to be let go. All right, let's do this. This is my right hand is the solar energy, the pranic energy, the nadi that handles the pranic upward motion out my crown kind of stuff, right? So the right hand is that, the left hand is the lunar aponic downward energy flow. So if we've got pulleys, we've got let's say it's a belt, right? Interlacing between all the chakras. Put it right here at your brow chakra. You can even close your eyes. For me, it helps to close my eyes, but you can do it your way. The right chakra, the right hand is going to push up. Yes, because it's moving upward. The left one is going to pull down. Remember, they interlace between the chakras. So if this is my right is going up, my left is going down, which direction? My direction is my brow chakra turning. It's turning toward my left. That means it's a yin energy. If it's turning towards my left, it's being able to receive that energy. It's a yin energy. So, of course, I receive, right, wisdom, knowledge, understanding through the brow chakra. That means the back. Oh, wait. We'll get there. Hold on. So if you've got it turning, that means the belt coming through all my chakras. My brow turns left, which means the pulleys will intertwine and make my throat turn to the right. Yang energy, expressive energy. Heart then turns to the left. Yin energy, receptive energy here in the front. Solar plexus, yang energy, right? It turns to the right. This is why I want to make a physical model of how this works, because when you see that visualization, you go, oh, expressive chakra, right? These two are two of the ways that we send a lot of energy. This is the way I push my body out into the world, and this is the way I push my truth, my spirit, my energy out into the world in a different way. Two ways that we do that. Our sacral chakra, where I first ask for the world to keep me safe and nourish me and take care of me. My heart chakra, where I first desire connection and community and receive the gifts and love from others as well, right? My crown chakra, where I'm able to receive or connect to that divine wisdom and meditation and be able to have that trickle down into my system. Now, remember, your crown and your root are the poles of your system. The top is the masculine, the root is the feminine, but they also have, right? They also have an up and a down flow. So when we're looking at the nadis are going in between the sacral to the third eye. These are, well, not those ones. Yeah, it goes from the third eye. I was going to say something else. These goes from the third eye. The nadis go from the third eye and interlace between all the chakras down to the sacral chakra. To me, this is my earth body. These are my earth energies. These are my material world things. My root chakra connects me down to the essence of the planet, of my grounding, of the yin energy, of the mother energy, right? My crown, that rising up energy, pranic energy, connects me to the cosmos, to the divine father energy, right? To purpose and such things. And purpose is here too. So these things flow together. Now we have back chakras. So just like the planet itself, when there's a vortex in the north hemisphere, it goes the opposite in the south hemisphere. Your hemispheres are the front and the back of your body. So that means if my throat chakra is a what? Yang, expressive energy, then where is the yin aspect of my throat chakra? Directly behind it. Hey, Nick. So if I'm experiencing struggle and things here in the back of my neck, it's going to indicate, choosing the right words here, imbalance or a need for balance in my ability to receive truth, because this is yin, right? This is my ability to express my truth, yang. my ability to receive other people's truths, right? Or understand other people's truths. It's also my ability to have good listening skills. Now, remember, my listening skills are not just in relationship to the people outside of me. My truth and my listening skills, my ability to listen for my own truth, is oftentimes where we end up very thwarted in our back of our neck, in the yin aspect of our throat chakra. Why? By conditioning of our system, by the system itself that conditions us to not listen to our inner voices, not listen to our systems, to close ourselves off to hearing those thoughts or the needs and the wants and the desires or the impetus of the energy system and of the body. So let's go to another one, right? Elohim, hello, my friend. Hi, Lucy. Okay. Before it gets too hot in here, I'm gonna turn on the AC. Throw out another chakra. Chicago, loved the book. Thank you so much for buying the book. The book I have that I wrote is called Energy for Sale: The Energetic Blueprint for Consumer Conditioning. And right now we're going over the structure of the energy body, which is included in the book. This information is included in the book. Most of it. But I try to make it really succinct and direct so you can get the information and then also understand how your system gets wired on an energetic level to react to capitalism, to the narrative, to the paradigm that's going on. Thank you, Chicago, so much. We are doing a raffle today for the book. So if you want a signed copy of the book, sending over on TikTok one of those dream crown things, and I'll put your name in the hat. Okay, so hopefully that doesn't become too loud. I'd do the raffle if I didn't already buy it, right? It's just a fun way, and again, I'm not here to like push the raffle. Obviously, we're still talking about all the energy stuff. I'm not here to push the raffle. It was just an opportunity for us to try something, for us to experience what it's like to be marketed to in that way from a conscious perspective, right? Who's going to win the book? I don't know yet. The future is undetermined. So, front chakra, back chakra. If I have been conditioned by my culture to dump energy out the front of my heart chakra, it's going to create a vortex that is so pushing energy out of my heart that there's not a lot of energy left to receive. So I may feel tension, regular issues with my back and with my shoulders because I'm literally carrying, right, all the tension from pushing all that energy out. My ability to receive love, to me, the image is being able to put down the bag or let somebody else carry the baggage kind of thing, to receive support and these kinds of things, to be connected and feel like we belong somewhere. This is all the stuff of the back of the heart chakra. Solar plexus. We talked about stereotypical gender roles in the West. If I, as a boy, was pushed to, or was allowed to push all of this energy out of my system, and that was supported, and I was successful in doing that, and I got what I wanted and what I needed, then again, that energy is going to be so intense pushing through the solar plexus chakra that we may not be able to relinquish control. We may not be able to put down our own ego needs or our own self-esteem and be able to see other people as powerful or confident or allow them to set boundaries for themselves, right? We will have an intense need to be in control. Now, this can come from two aspects. This is such a dynamic system. It can come from the aspect of, I need to be in control because being in control as a kid got me everything I needed. It can also be, again, from a place of fear. It can be from a place of overconfidence. It can also be from a place of fear. Oftentimes when it's from a place of fear, we end up with a wounded solar plexus. I'm a good example of a wounded solar plexus, where for the most part, I'll pour that energy out of my heart and just concave my solar plexus. Completely gone. Doesn't even exist. Let's pull my pants all the way up over it so it's not even there. Nope. See, I don't need any form of control. I don't need to make any decisions. Like, it's safer if just somebody else does. And I just pour my heart into caring for people who are more powerful, have more self-esteem than me, right? But as I do that, again and again and again, now this is a very real, very honest pattern in my life. I say, oh, let me help. I see that you're in need of something. Oh, let me give you that. Oh, let me be generous with my energy. And I'll be generous with my energy and generous with my energy and generous with my energy. And my solar plexus will quietly, or sometimes, very nicely say, hey, we had an agreement and I'm pouring my energy into that agreement. And I see that you're not. Do you think maybe you could respect my boundaries? No? Okay, well, I'll keep caring for you and just keep asking you to respect my boundaries, maybe. Or maybe I'll completely, again, stop asking anymore and I'll sit there more and more concave until my system becomes so fucking out of balance that I go, rah! I've been pouring energy out my heart all this fucking time. I've been giving you all these things. I've been doing all this shit. And you have just been walking all over my heart. That comes from a wounded solar plexus. My inability to stand more confidently and more consistently in my solar plexus and hold those boundaries and know that I am valuable of holding those boundaries. You totally get this. This is why I like to share these things, because I'm sharing these from my personal experience. Most of the stories I share are from personal experience, because this is how I learned about my system and how I understood that the chakra system is so, 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 so important to your healing, to the wiring, to your misalignment, and why our culture intentionally thwarts, intentionally messes up your system. Because if it messes up your system and teaches you these things, like your only worth is in what you do for others, then your system can be out of balance. And when my system is out of balance, I'm going to struggle to find my truth. I'm going to struggle to know what I need. And so instead, I'm going to turn outside of me, because the system says, oh, you don't know what you need and you don't feel safe? Well, here, buy this. Or here, pay for this. Well, here, act like this. Well, here, wear this. And then we spend all of our time looking outside of ourselves for the satisfactions to what's happening inside of us. And to be honest, it almost never, ever, ever completely satisfies the need. Because my need is for fresh water and nourishing food. But my culture says drink energy drinks and eat fast food because it's more convenient. And it's already triggered you and misaligned you in these chakras that you're like, I gotta hurry and get my food. Okay, so I gotta buy it the cheapest possible, and I gotta do this thing, and they said it was okay to drink these things, and I've got to make sure I'm super productive, so I've got to make sure I have the things. Whoa. Why do I feel so lost and out of balance and tense all the fucking time? And why is this so miserable? And why am I unhealthy all the time? Because your system is literally tilted at a fucking 45-degree angle, racing through life while trying to hold up a goddamn wall for the whole narrative. And it's not how you're meant to live. It's not how you're meant to thrive. Can you survive like that? Yes, barely. Why does it feel like the system, like the paradigm, the narrative is literally crushing you? Because it's intended to put so much pressure on you and keep you in such a degree of tension that you can't self-actualize. You are more powerful than you have fucking been told. And this was the magic that I discovered. The reason we are kept at this 45-degree angle, intention, and out of balance and feeling lost is so that you don't find your true power. Because if you self-actualized, if you got yourself to that centered place and understood how to express and how to use your energy at its full capacity, you're not manipulatable. You're not pushable, right? Right now, as you are, and you know it, one more little on you, and you're fucking down. One more fucking little arrow through the heart, and you're fucking dead. One last paycheck, and you're out in the cold. It's intended to cultivate fear, tension, and an intensity, right? That keeps you from your true essence. I feel like it's yes, but only for so long. That's it. But we're told that this is safe and normal. That's how everybody lives, and no pain, no gain. And you better pick yourself up by your bootstraps. We have so many freaking things for it because it's part of the culture. And how does this get wired in? Through the very earliest stages of your development. And let's talk about some examples about that. Okay, so again, I wrote a book. We're doing a raffle for the book. You send over here on TikTok, you can send the Crystal Dreams Crown to get yourself in your name in a hat for a drawing for a signed copy of the book. If you don't want to join the raffle, that's okay. You can also get it on Amazon. It's called Energy for Sale, the Energetic Blueprint for Consumer Conditioning. So in the first part, thank you, friend. So in the first part of the book, I offer the foundations, chakra basics, psychology of manipulation itself, and how, hey, Feral Barbie, awesome, thank you. Let's put you in there. Thanks, Jessica. Woohoo. For now, I'm going to put them here so we can get some folks in there. Thank you, friend. Thank you, friend. Thank you. Okay, so in the very beginning of the book, we have chakra basics, the psychology of manipulation. I go over the history of how modern marketing came to be. You may hear the name Edward Bernays. Thank you, friend. You may be familiar with the name Maslow. You may hear a lot of these things, these concepts from psychology, Freud. These kinds of people are a major part of how it became a tool that was used by the ruling class in our culture for a means of control. Mind you, propaganda and these tools have been used for as long as we can fucking remember in most of our written history, because they were used by religion. Now, religion and maybe even further, like some esoteric, deeper understanding, knowledge sort of stuff, had some understanding about how to wire your system. The real big nail in the coffin was when Edward Bernays brought his uncle Freud's psychology understanding on our basic needs in our system. Now, you can also refer to the wheel of needs that Maslow adopted from the Blackfoot Nation and turned into a pyramid to also look at the way that your system has specific needs. And we can look at child development, social emotional development, Erik Erikson's stages of development. Also point out the needs of each stage of your development. As you're developing, parts of your brain are developing with different needs. Your body is developing with different needs. So what happens in the West? Let's go for a typical run-of-the-mill, just middle of the road. I'm going to do what's suggested by my culture, okay? Don't spoil that baby. When that baby cries, you let the baby cry for a moment so it can learn to self-soothe. When it's nap time, you let that baby continue to cry for X amount of time, right? And it doesn't work. Okay, we're going to try again. We're going to keep trying this. You're going to force the baby to self-soothe. Your system does not self-soothe. Not as an infant. It does self-soothe by essentially moving the energy out of the root chakra. It says, I'm not fucking safe here. I'm not safe. And it also says, the universe is not responding to me as if I'm valuable. This is our sacral chakra. Our sacral chakra says, I feel something, please help me. And if my environment does not respond to that, then my energy is going to go, fuck, I got to do something about this. So it moves up into the solar plexus. Okay, read some of those, what you're raised on. Yes, a lot of us were raised on the cry it out method or some variation thereof, or even a version of don't spoil, right? Like if you are too snuggly with your little boys, that's weird or wrong, or you can't allow your girls to have everything that they want. Gosh, you're going to spoil the child with snuggles and holding and whatnot. Not at all the case. It's actually a biological imperative for you to stay connected to your caregivers. It's a matter of physical and safety in terms of survival. So when we do that to our infants, we are teaching that we're first teaching them that the world is not really safe, and two, that the world will not meet your needs. The world will not just because you exist, you don't get to be safe, you don't get to be taken care of. On top of that, then we will sell baby food and formula and things, and we will regiment it so that you eat at this time and that time and you eat exactly this amount. What does that do? It teaches you to ignore your digestive system. It teaches you to ignore your actual need for food or not, nourishment or not. So it teaches the infant, don't pay attention to what's happening here. This is what you need to do. I'll tell you, I'll control, right? So again, then I'm not paying attention to my need for food, my need for, let's also napping on specific time schedules. The very early indoctrination of time schedules will also teach us to ignore our body's needs and natural rhythms. Slapping a diaper on that baby teaches the baby to ignore its need for elimination. These are all ways that your culture says it's totally normal to fuck up your energy, the energy of your kids, so that they can better fall in line later on. Let's go up into our 2-year-olds. We literally have the term terrible twos for the first time that our children really get out and start expressing their self, their ego, their personality. Ego is not bad in and of itself, but we vilify it by when they first come out there and they're like, yeah, I can do shit. No, don't do shit like that, right? A personal example for me is I was a victim of a cried out method. I was a cried out baby, and I would just fucking. My mother told me these stories. She goes, you would just scream. She's like, you didn't self-soothe. You would just scream until your voice got raw, right? And back then, it wasn't like, oh, leave them alone for 15 minutes and then go check on them. It was like, leave them and they'll figure it out. So what did my system do? I was like 9 months, and I was running. I was some younger months, I don't remember exactly, but I was climbing out of the crib. I was pulling myself up and climbing out of the crib and running before counterparts of mine were walking. Why? Because the intensity of need to protect myself, to make myself safe, was so much that all of that energy moved up from my root chakra and my sacral chakra into my solar plexus. You can bet your ass I got mine kicked for doing those things, right? I ran into things as an infant, right? You knock some, or not as an infant, as a 9-month-old or whatever. I started running, right? I'd run into things. I'd knock things over. I'd pull things over by trying to pull myself up constantly, bam, no. So what did I also learn then? I can't just be safe by existing. I can't ask for help and have help when I need it. I can't get the fucking things that I need or get what I want. So I move up into the heart as soon as I possibly can. I have a sister who's 15 months younger than me. And at 15 months old, I wanted to feed my sister. I wanted to take care of my sister. I wanted to do all the things for my sister. I even spoke for my sister, which later on she got mad at me. She found this out, and apparently she got mad that I spoke for her. She was like, it was your fault that I didn't speak earlier. And I was like, I'm sorry. I wasn't intentionally doing it as a little kid. I thought I was being helpful. I thought I was pouring that energy from my heart. Thank you. Because when I did, guess who was suddenly valid? Oh, look, how sweet. She's taking care of her sister. Oh, how sweet, how cute. She's talking for her sister. How sweet. She's doing things for her sister. Now I'm good. Now I'm safe. Now you're nice to me. Now I'm valuable. This is how, by the age of 15 months, my system was conditioned to pull all my energy out of my body, ignore my need to eliminate, go to the bathroom, ignore my need to eat or not. The ignoring my need to eat or not is still something I'm dealing with. I have trouble keeping weight on because it's not safe for me to, I mean, sometimes in some situations, right? Like I guess that's more of a personal rabbit hole. I just almost dropped down. But the idea is that these things get patterned in our system and they live in our system until we repattern those things, right? I also became really loud because that, right? As soon as I started expressing from the heart and screaming from my throat chakra, well, now I could get shit done. And now I was safe, or now, I did theater and I sang as a very young. I started singing. I still love singing. But singing was another way that people said, oh, how beautiful she is. Oh, how lovely she is. Oh, she's so good. Because I said the right things or sounded pretty. So much of my energy came up here that it took me decades to realize that I wasn't even in my body. I didn't know how to connect to my body. I didn't know what my body needed at any point. And so I just threw whatever the culture said to throw at it, right? Certain types of foods. Yeah. So in this way, your energy patterns by those earliest experiences. And in those ways, those particular ways, at least in my experience, and many times in some of yours, and you probably have your own different unique versions of these, our culture wires your system to believe certain things about the world. Is the world actually abundant? Yes, we have food to feed every fucking human on the planet. Is it possible to have safety and connection and personal power and self-esteem without hurting others or without being verbose about it or without sacrificing all of yourself? Yes. Balance is absolutely available. And in fact, balance is preferred by your system. So when your system pulls all the energy up to your heart to express it there because that's where it's safe, you're also going to deal with tension in your system because it's not meant to just scream out of one chakra. Mackenzie, love your lives. You have very calming, grounded energy. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes it feels chaotic for me because I'm still learning to be confident in my throat chakra. So I really appreciate that reflection, friend. Thank you. Your system is trying to bring you back into balance. You're screaming out there that the discomfort, the pain, the pulling up of your shoulders, these kinds of things. These are check engine lights. This is my system saying there's too much here, or I'm holding here, or I'm trying to figure out how to keep us safe, right? But it's not actually comfortable. And if we ignore these things, we end up with chronic conditions. And what does our culture do again? It says, oh, treat the system. Oh, you got neck, spine stuff. Well, then we'll just do this. We'll just fuse the things together. Oh, we'll just do surgery. We'll just get in there and treat the symptom. But you don't. I said this last night to my friend. I was like, it's literally like taking your car to the mechanic and your mechanic going, let's just snip the wires for the check engine light. Pfft, everything's fine now, right? Right? And then when the car breaks down, the system, the paradigm, the system, the narrative, the mechanic goes, oh yeah, they all break down eventually. That's totally normal that your car is clunking and spewing gas and you can barely fucking make it to wherever you're going. No, it's not. No, that's a function, not a functioning system. And when we think of it that way, we go, oh wow, right? The system has repeatedly wired us, or not snipped. I can't say that because when we do that, it's like a permanent thing. And so I don't want to put the narrative that these are permanent things. It doesn't permanently shut off your check engine light. But if you're on various things to shut down those things, right? I think of fever medicine is really good. Fever reducers. A fever is your body's expression of reacquiring balance. That heat is the friction that's needed to heal and to bring your system back into balance. It needs to do that to heal. In herbalism, we call it the healing crisis. But in the West, we go, oh, that's a bad thing. Just take a medicine and we'll push it back down into your system. What happens when you hold in a belch and you just keep swallowing your belches down? Or what happens when you hold in your farts and you don't ever let them out? Do they just go away inside of your system? If you've got to pee, can you just hold it in and it just holds in your system, right? That's totally fine. No, they're meant to be expressed. The fever, the pain, the emotion that comes with the imbalances that says, hey, something's out of alignment here and I need to let you know. I need to let you know so that we can express, right? A lot of times I think of emotions like farts and belches. They're a sign that something was not quite in alignment with your digestion, right? So it lets off the gas that's created by the thing. Your system is trying to release the shit that does not work for it. But we don't allow that release through our emotions because our culture also tells us those are bad, those are wrong, you're not allowed to have them, right? Or we get stuck in the patterns where we feel justified in expressing our emotions in totally out of balance ways. This I call weaponizing. We weaponize our emotions, right? Think about, there's so many good analogies for this. There's so many good analogies for this stuff. Think about the dynamic between two partners where, something will happen that doesn't feel right, doesn't feel good, and it perpetuates in the relationship. It happens again and again until finally you've had enough. Basically, every time this thing that happens that doesn't feel good creates a belch inside of you. And every time that belch comes up, you're like, no, that'd be mean to say it. Oh, I'm being too judgmental. Oh, I'm being too controlling. I'm going to judge myself about it and say, no, go back down. Keep swallowing those belches again and again and again until finally one day, one more thing happens and I cannot fucking hold down any more of that gas, right? I am so full and there's so much pressure in my system that one little poke made everything explode. And oops, I did that at work to my coworker who it was not at all associated with. Actually, that was my partner and this dynamic that I put myself in this relationship because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I thought it was right for me or whatever my excuses, whatever my reason was for it. But it perpetually created such friction and such tension that now I am literally, what's the word I'm looking for? Ticking time bomb, right? Maybe I can't say that on TikTok. I'm ready to, there's too much pressure. So that pressure has to come out. But we are taught that our emotions are so bad and our emotions are somebody else's fault. So if that's the case, then what do we do with our emotions? We turn them into arrows. My favorite way to look at this one is like you've been this thing with your partner has been wearing on you for so long, and finally you're like, I'm fucking tired of it. You wait until you guys get in the car together, and it's akin to rolling up your windows and locking them and then farting in the car. Because you just let it all out. Doesn't matter how bad it is, doesn't matter how stinky it is, and you've been holding it in for so long, it has started to rot. And it started to create so much pressure and so much gas that you just absolutely have no other fucking choice. And you word vomit, right? Or you just shit all over the person that's next to you. Sometimes we even trap each other like that. Corner somebody and weaponize. You have to listen to me. You have to. It's your fault. I feel justified in this. I have to tell you this. It's all you. Weaponizing my energy. It's not going to heal us. And it's not going to help our partners understand us better and these kinds of things. Are there times in our healing and in our process that we do that? Maybe you did that today or yesterday or more recently and you remember exactly doing that. And you're like, oh. Remember that you are always doing the best you can with the tools that you have available. And shame and fear and guilt do not create space in our systems. Yep, did that to a friend. I understand. I did that as well recently. I've done it. The relief, I guess, another way to handle it is to meet ourselves, the things going on within us, with curiosity and willingness when they come up. Not with judgment, not with shame, not with guilt. So what does that sound like? That sounds like if my partner does or says something, or my friend does or says something that's offensive to me meeting it with curiosity and willingness means me giving it the space and time that it needs, and me going, oh, whoa, this thing happened in my system. And I could blame the other person for it, or I could just tune in and just be curious, like, wow, that stimulus caused this reaction. Interesting. Because now I have a choice on what to do with it. I put myself here in this space, took it outside and of my, it is me, it's all of me, and I turned it into something that I could turn around and go, wait a minute. yes, I am feeling angry right now, but I'm not always angry. I am not an angry whatever, right? Like I am not anger. But right now, anger is coming up in me. So what if I took that anger and I took it here and I said, hey, anger, thanks for showing up. Did you have something important to tell me? Is there a message that I should know about this? Or where did you come from? Or why are you here? Or do you need anything? Sometimes you might not hear any answers at all. But the more you sit with these practices, the more they will resonate within you, right? And then I can look at it and I can go, oh, anger, my ally, because anger is coming up to keep me safe. Just like fear, just like grief, just like any of these emotions are coming up to help me come back into alignment because they're letting me know where I'm out of alignment. Anger coming up over this thing that may be otherwise minuscule, right? Or it doesn't matter the size of the thing. Whatever comes up within me, I can take it outside of myself and I can say, interesting. Look at this beautiful little expression of my system. Look at that cute little fart. So crazy that my system would express some off-gassing, right? I needed to let go of something. How? Wow. Thank you, system, for showing up with anger, for letting me know that my system doesn't feel safe, that right now something is out of alignment. And as long as you need me to, or as long as I can, depending on the situation, maybe I'm going to hold it here for a few moments. And holding it here might look like this. I experience the anger and I experience it in my belly. And maybe I'll bring my hand to my heart here to bring myself back to my center and just take big, deep breaths and say, go ahead, fart all you want. I'm not going to weaponize it. I'm not going to use it to attack the person in front of me, but instead take this moment to be with the feeling itself, to let it expand inside of me, to breathe with it and to listen. What do you need? You may not hear anything, but the more you sit with it, the more it will resonate within you. And you may also hear things like, I feel stepped on, or I feel disrespected, or I feel like I've been repeating myself and not being heard, right? These are all real things, real needs. But when you hear them within you like that and can have that discussion, then I go, oh, interesting. My need is not to attack the other person. My need is to be heard, right? And I can sit and examine later, like, how am I not being heard? How am I expressing myself? Am I appropriately articulating the things that I need? Ooh, maybe I didn't quite so clearly say what I needed. And then this anger comes up because it is used to, right? I didn't clearly say what I needed. And this is a pattern maybe that I'm used to because I'm struggling, because my solar plexus is a little bit more wounded or whatnot. So the energy is not quite there. And maybe I'm so much more of like oh, will you just please? Maybe you could possibly maybe you could listen to me. Maybe possibly, could you respect my boundary? Maybe you see all these things I'm doing that's also protecting my energy, protecting my heart, protecting my stuff. Could you please, could you maybe, where's my solar plexus? All the way in there. Versus, here are my boundaries. Here are my expectations for this situation or for us moving forward. And I'm going to allow that energy to come up, thank you, friend, through these lower chakras so that it can be expressed, so that my truth can be expressed more clearly and more directly with kindness, right? Without screaming about it. And this is not to say that you are a bad person for letting out that, for intensifying the energy in your throat chakra. There are situations where that energy is necessary to move through the situation, right? Just like there's some situations where we got to use some strength to push our way through some blockade, right? And if I know that I have a tendency to not really state what I need, then I need to be more mindful about that. And I want to cultivate clearing these channels so that I can be more clear, so that I avoid later in the future people misunderstanding me because I wasn't clear. And this is how we accidentally create unconscious patterns by nobody ever hears me. Nobody ever respects me. Nobody ever gives me what I need. Yes, but am I adept at expressing my needs and expressing my boundaries? Does it mean it's all my fault when somebody steps all over me? No. Again, we're not isolated in little boxes. We are all interacting with each other. But if we can meet the situation, again, with at the very least, curiosity, and willingness, we have an opportunity to receive something. If I show up with guilt, shame, judgment, condemnation, blame, I'm just starting fights with myself and with others. I don't get to receive much when my hands are here in fists, right? Juliana, anger release ceremonies require loud vocalizing for the greatest release of anger. Yes, because again, this is one of my most powerful ways to express the creativity in my system. And creativity means anything I create, the creation occurring in my system at all times, the interaction between all of these things, my words being created, my feelings being created, my experience, my world being created in each moment. And it's directly related to the way that I also am able to receive the world down here in my sacral chakra. You notice when the chakras development, first I receive from the world and then I express to the world. Because being able to receive and being able to set those boundaries and being able to stand in my personal power is an important part of being able to clearly articulate my truth and to find my purpose, right? And to self-actualize and these such things. So let's see. Where are we at now? We have covered the functions of the chakra system, the movement of the vayus, of the energy in the system, and how the vortexes spin. We've covered the front of the chakras and the back of the chakras. Please remember, all of you lovelies, thank you so much for your follows. If you followed me today, please come back and follow me after the live or check again later today or tomorrow, because TikTok likes to remove my followers. I will see lots and lots and lots and lots of followers during my live, and then I will get off and there will be 10, 20. Because I believe that it's because they don't want you to have these tools. Because if you were a self-actualized, empowered, centered, balanced individual, it is so much harder to knock you out of balance. I like to think about remember those old punching bags, the little clowns with the weight or the water in the bottom, right? You ever had one of those? We had those. Then it's weighted in the bottom. This is what, from an Ayurvedic perspective, in the Vedic sciences, right? In Ayurveda, we look at balance, health, and wellness in this way. There is a range of balance, and that's that weight in the bottom. If I am grounded, there is a weight to my balance. And if I'm here in balance, then one punch, bah, what am I going to do? Right back fucking into balance, right? Have a beer, have some sugar, something bad happens. What happens? Whoa! And I'm back into balance because I have that grounding and I have that balance and that pattern of being here. When I'm here, there is not tension in my system. There is only intention in my system. Otherwise, I'm asleep. If there's no intention in my system, then I'm not here, right? Here, I have intention, but no tension. When something happens, I need tension to pull myself back up. I may experience pain. I may experience frustration, anger, energy. I may experience tensing of my muscles or whatever. Whoa. Back to center. Now, if I'm either not grounded or I am tipped to a point where that's that tipping point, literal, so tipped past the tipping point, what happens to that little clown punching bag thing? It takes a lot more energy to push yourself back up through the tipping point to get back to upright than it does to get back into balance when you're already there. So why does the culture? That is why the culture starts from the very beginning, from your grounding, your lower chakras, from your infancy and your childhood, to make sure that by the time, what was it for me? 15 months old, and I am barely fucking surviving on taking care of others, my sister, right? And the animals or something, because that's where I was finally okay. That's where my world told me, oh, now you're good. Now you're right. Now you're accepted because you're operating like this. Thank you, Jen. Thank you all for the follows. If you're interested in learning more and diving on your own into this concept, I wrote this book recently. We're doing a raffle for it today. If you want a signed copy of it to enter the raffle, all you got to do is send the Crystal Dreams crown. It's a 400 coin crown or gift. It equates to about $5.32. And I figured it was a pretty easy way to buy a raffle ticket, right? So you get a signed copy of this if your name gets picked out of the hat once we're all done today. And in this book, I go through like bullet points and little paragraphs to run through a huge amount of information. Obviously, I love talking about this stuff, and we usually spend several hours talking about this stuff and all the different angles of it. But in here, I go through bullet points to make sure we can at least cover all the bases, right, of what we're collectively going through. So as I was talking about before, this first part is foundations, about how the energy body is shaped by external influence, how the chakra system it works and functions. The second part of the book goes chakra by chakra. There is a chapter for each of the chakras, and I go over the basics, the overview of it. I talk about the psychological, the development stages, what it is associated with. I also talk about signs of imbalance. If you're interested in whether or not your system is out of balance or in balance, you're going to find that overactive, underactive, and balanced here in each section. And then I talk specifically about how marketing manipulates the root chakra. For example, I wonder if you guys can find. Give me an example of what book. It's called Energy for Sale, The Energetic Blueprint of Consumer Conditioning. I just actually published it back in July, and we're doing pretty good on sales. I'm pretty excited that it's being sold. It is available on Amazon. And again, I'm not here to push something that you have to. Thank you, HB. That you have to have this. You can find a lot of information. If you want to go and research all the pieces that I gathered together in the book, feel free to do that. Awesome. Thank you, friend. And I will choose after the live. And if I miss one, please, anybody let me know. Regulars too, if I don't see it, please let me know. Because I think I've only got those ones right now. Okay. So the second part of the book goes into the chapter by chapter. I don't even read, and I love the book, Leif. Thank you. So I specifically, again, I'm really wordy. Like I really wanted to tell you guys everything, but I can't. Like that's a fat text. That's a really big book. So we went through, and I did my best to keep it relatively straightforward and succinct. I go through each of the chakras. Signs of imbalance, how marketing specifically targets that chakra. So we use examples of, let's see, which one are we in right now? And then I also offer some healing practices at the end of each chapter for each chakra. The third part of the book is all about decoding marketing and how to reclaim your energetic sovereignty. So in this part, the last part, I give you practical, actionable tools for noticing which kind of marketing it is and for pulling your energy back. Because what it does, these kinds of marketing, because of the structure of your system and the way that they've manipulated your system already, they have essentially established or hooked in these buttons, right? They've wired up these buttons for you. And every time you see the I don't know, really attractive lady eating a hamburger, they know how that's going to trigger you. When you hear the message of open happiness, they know exactly what button that's going to push. So what we're wanting to do is to take back, right, and detach those strings and go, no. You can't press those buttons. I'm going to rewire myself, right? First, we have to unwire the conditioning. And to do that, we've got to be aware of how it's happening. So I think this might be kind of one of my favorite parts of the book. But I offer this daily rituals and energetic detoxes. And for each chakra, I go through and I remind you, like it says, root security, right? That's what it's about. And then I give you a detox option, a ritual, and an affirmation. This is like the cliff notes of the entire book is back here at the end. Sacral chakra is about our desire and our connection and our nourishment. So then I offer a detox, a ritual, and an affirmation. I also offer reflection questions on how to for you to help explore these ways that marketing triggers your system and what responses you get. If you notice how your system responds, watching a commercial or a video or scrolling through social media, and if you feel something that happens in your system, I encourage you to pause, feel that thing, and go, oh, wow, seeing that made my heart hurt, right? And I know that a lot of us are experiencing that too. And some of that is propaganda, some of that is marketing, some of that is experience and truth, right? So we want to then decipher, is this mine? Is this my feeling about this thing? Or is it being triggered by the style that that thing has been presented to me? Leif, I don't know what it is. Actually, I had somebody, these were just, no, it's not. It's just like glittery. Just a little glittery thing. Or the tree. Are you talking about a stone? So yeah, if you feel like you are being puppeted around by a system that doesn't have any interest in your wellness or your self-actualization, or you're feeling like you are fucking exhausted trying to run, yeah, the tree of life, if trying to run through life like this and you can never find yourself upright and balanced and whatnot, and you don't have the tools, or you can't, or you feel like you can't do meditation, right? Or you've tried a bunch of these things and you're not sure, like none of them seem to work, I really encourage you to go grab a copy of this. Again, you can also hang out in these Saturday classes. These Saturday classes start at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and we go for several hours to talk about the chakra system, how the chakra system works. I think somebody earlier said this is a great, I forget the words you used, great starter, right? Great introduction, and then come to class so that we can talk about more of it, and you can learn more in depth about how these things work, and we can talk about the specifics of how they manifest in us. So, and then the last piece, of course, is that I have a QR code in the back here. And next year, starting probably in January, I'm going to have a monthly, at least monthly, who knows, I'll probably do it more because I like to say one thing and then do more instead. I will have a regular Zoom session where we will go, it will be a Q&A session for the topics in the book. It'll basically be like these classes, except for more interactive because it's in a Zoom call. So you can ask your questions directly. We can talk about more specific situations. And then we're also going to do practices together. We'll do practices together. Practices from the book as well as more expanded practices. So if you read this book, or you don't want to read the book, but you want tools to get your system back into balance, if you're like, I just need the actual practical shit, can you please give me the cheat codes to make sure that I'm at least bringing my system back into alignment more regularly? Yes, I have a Patreon page over with Move with Change on Patreon, and I have a shop there, and I have they're called cheat codes, and they're just PDF downloads. They're $5.55 each, encouraging us to change and to grow and to transform as we need to into better alignment. And there are 3 or so pages. I offer asanas, I offer mudras, I offer mantras, I offer sounds, I offer breath work, I offer visualizations, I offer energy healing techniques, I offer nutrition tips, and I offer reflection questions and herb and stone pairings. I think that's all I offer. That's all. That's all I offer in the cheat codes. So it's about 3 pages long, and it also gives you an overview of the topics that we talked about that month. So if it's that chakra, if it's the root chakra, you're going to find in that PDF all the basics and a little more than is in here about the specific chakra. And then you're going to have all of those tools, and they're not an exhaustive list, but they're a great place to start. And if you're not familiar with Sanskrit mantras, maybe the mantras piece, not great, but you can do some mudras, or maybe some nutrition things, right? Where you're like, oh, well, if I could just carry this stone with me and it's going to help balance my chakra, then great, I'll do that. There's really easy things, and there's much more complicated or advanced things in that in those PDFs. So those PDFs are a great accompaniment or partner to the book. Remember, we've been going through our Inner Light series, and we are only at the throat right now. We still have the brow chakra next month, the crown the month after that, and then we're going to do the soul, star, and upper minor chakras, like face chakras, shoulder chakras, these kinds of things we're going to learn about in November. And then in December, I have a surprise for you. I have a surprise, and I've been super, super, super good about not telling what the surprise is because I like surprises. So I often end up getting so excited that I just tell you accidentally because I'm like, oh, I have a surprise. Oh, shit, I was supposed to surprise you. So I've been pretty successful at keeping it under wraps. But I'm currently creating the content and the things for it. So I'm even more excited. So I'm trying to keep my lips sealed here on it. But that'll be a really good, and I encourage you, what we're doing in December, you can do none of this other work and jump right in December. But I really feel like you would benefit more if you do some of the other stuff. And even if it's just basic, I'm talking about just start listening to your system. Just start breathing with more intention, right? Start aligning your intention with your attention so that when we do these things or when we share these things, learn these things in December, that it's easier for you to get into that space. It will be harder for you to do the things that we're doing and to go through the process in December unless you at least have some degree of how do I even direct my attention? If you can't yet direct your attention in some place and even hold it for just like a few moments, you may struggle with what we're doing in December. So I encourage you, we still have a couple of months to work on those practices. So, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that yet. Uh-oh, I'm not gonna be able to do December. Oh no. Wait. Take a deep breath. You just aligned your intention with your attention. Focus on your heart. Close your eyes. Feel your heart beating in your chest. Notice as it gets louder and louder as you give it more and more of your focus. Yeah, that random thought, let it go, let it pass by, and refocus on the heart. Here, focus on the heart. Notice the way that you can feel your heart beating now in the sides of your rib cage too. Big deep breath. Expanding the rib cage. Making space for that heartbeat. And exhale. Let your shoulders relax and notice how now that you've relaxed your shoulders, you can also feel your heartbeat up in your shoulders, maybe collarbone, maybe even into your neck a little bit. Notice that you can feel your heartbeat in your armpits. Drag your attention down your arms and into your hands, and boom, there's your heartbeat there too. Your chest, your back, shoulders, arms, hands, full of heartbeat. Bring your attention down into your belly, about your diaphragm area, and notice your heartbeat echoing down that way too. Pull it down into your belly button. Feel your heart boom, 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 down behind your belly button. Take a deep breath in and pull the breath all the way into your belly, just with awareness. As the belly gently expands, and as you exhale, drop your awareness even deeper and notice that you can feel your heartbeat in your perineum, your pelvic floor. You may have already noticed that you can feel your heartbeat thump, thump, thumping in your thighs. Depending on how you're sitting, you may experience it also now in your knees, lower legs, and into your feet. From your feet, shins, knees, thighs, your root chakra, hips, belly, up your sides, through your rib cage, in your armpits, down your arms, in your hands. Most of your body is going bubble, 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 bubble. And it starts to echo through your head, through your ears, as if you can almost hear it. And listening to it, you can feel it in your ears. Bubble, 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 bubble. In your heart, in your tongue, in your throat, in your jaw, at the very top of your head, all of your attention, all of your focus at the very top of your head. Feel that heartbeat. When we give our attention to our intention and follow our intention with our attention, it amplifies our experience exponentially. Meditation, mindfulness, is a personal practice. The more you sit with it, the more it will resonate within you. Just like the more you sit with your heart, the more it will echo through you. The practice of meditation is not about being perfectly silent. It's not about being perfectly balanced. It's not about control. It's not about perfection. It's about herding those cats. It's about calling the mind monkeys back to the mat. It's about reeling in your attention every time it wanders away. And if you're new at this, your attention is used to wandering around wherever the heck it wants to go. If you're in this space with you and me, I invite you to place both hands on your heart. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like to stay here. But if you're ready to come back to our session, our conversation, I guess, go ahead and take a deep breath in. And as you inhale, offer gratitude just to your heart for a moment. Just thank you, heart. Thank you for the opportunity to experience that heartbeat pumping all the way through me. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for transmuting source into creation to manifest here in the reality. Thank you to the energy that is always flowing through the path of least resistance to bring me to my highest good, to bring us to our highest good in every single moment. Offer yourself a little thank you for just showing up and doing that practice. Your heart is grateful. Before you open your eyes, I encourage you to rub your palms together and cup them over your eyes, fluttering them open underneath your palms to help adjust the transition. How do you feel? When we give ourselves the opportunity to align our intention and our attention, we have the ability to alter our experience of space and time itself. And that's, again, not hyperbole. This is quantum physics. Time and space are relative to light, and your attention is a light that you cast in your intended direction. Or we allow our light to be scattered by worry, by yesterday, by fear, by expectation, and tomorrow, and all the other things going on. So, you want to change your reality? This is manifestation. Forget the bastardization that the West has done to manifestation. It's not about control, it's not about force. You can manifest your reality by shifting your experience of it. If I want more peace, where is peace? Do I create peace? Do I fight for peace? Peace was right there. Did you feel that? Right there in your heart. You notice the way that your system relaxed around that peace? Tension melted away. Alignment slowly happened. And the mind calmed. And the breath slowed. Oh, I'm not good at meditation. You just did. You just gave yourself that opportunity to align intention and attention. And any of the thoughts that popped up, any of the tensions that tried to pull you away, we meet it only with curiosity and willingness, not with judgment, not with shame, not sitting here listening to my heartbeat and then suddenly I notice that I've wandered off in thought. We meet that with curiosity. We meet that with maybe even a little bit of laughter. It's my favorite. I pretend it's a little kitten. I got kittens up here all day. Monkeys and kittens running around. And sometimes if I sit there and focus on my intention, the kittens start wandering off. And I'll be way more aware of it when I'm sitting right here. Oh, that random thought that just popped up for Newton. Okay, I hear you. Great. Come on back to the mat. Toddlers running around, right? Come on back to the mat. I know you're used to running around all scattered on your own, and that's why I feel scattered. I know you emotions are used to running on your own, and that's why I feel pushed and pulled and controlled by you. But you are not the driver, emotions. You are not the captain, random thoughts, kittens in the mind. The essence of I am. When we align our intention and our attention and meet everything with curiosity and willingness, we can so much more easily, quickly, successfully experience the essence of ourself. That experience that you had, if you join me for that and you experience that calm or that centeredness or that peace, this is why we work with the energy body. Because the energy body, we can align ourselves into that place of alignment. Wow, look. My body's without tension, without pain, without fear. That feels so expansive. It feels safe, maybe, right? Depending on our patterns. Can I just stay here in this place? You can come back to this place anytime you need it. But you are also dynamic and you also have patterns, and there's also a give and a take and a push and a pull and a rise and a fall. So expecting to stay here perfectly all the time is going to set you up for further tension in our systems, because we're going to force ourselves to try to stay here when really my system goes, ah, and needs to express that, ah, so that I can come back to center. I think one of the most important things that I want to share beyond the chakras and what the paradigm is doing to hook you and create buttons and how it's screwing us up and how it's leading us on and all this other stuff. I think one of the most important things I want to impress, I want to share, everything that you need for your healing is alive and well in you. Every hurt, every pain, every fear, every moment of doubt, all of that patterns through you, as long as you've shoved it down, still breathes and lives with you. In your thought patterns, in the way that you speak, in the way that you talk to yourself, in what you eat, in what you do, what you believe about the world, who you trust and who you don't, how you fucking hold your body, how you sleep. All of it is a result of the patterns that were integrated into your system. Should we turn around and be mad at the world and the paradigm and our parents and whoever did those things? I mean, you can spend energy there if you'd like to, and sometimes it's good to express the anger, right? But ultimately we come back to a place to say, oh, I'm just out of alignment. I can bring myself back to center. I can rewire my system. I am so much more powerful than I have been told. I can accept in that knowing that I have done things that maybe I'm not happy about or not grateful for, or were not mostly for me. I have made choices that might have hurt myself or other people. But if I can accept that I did that out of my misalignment, then hopefully that will propel me closer to my alignment and encourage me even more so to be with myself so that I don't perpetuate these patterns that aren't good for me. Why would we keep eating something that makes us feel bad? But we do, and we're encouraged to do so by our culture. Jen, so thankful I found you. You're right on time for me. Yay. It's one of the biggest reasons why I continue to teach online, why I continue to do the TikTok thing, even though TikTok attacks my content and unfollows people and does all sorts of fun things. But almost every time I come live, there's at least somebody, right, who's like, oh my gosh, thank you. For me, this is my purpose. For me, this is my path. This is something that I've spent my entire life clarifying so that I can understand in a deeper experiential way, so that I can take it and turn it around. I like to look at every version of the elephant, every angle of the prism, every freaking facet, because if I can do this with it, then I'm not trapped inside of it. Am I Jewish? I am not. I am a non-denominational reverend. This is my 11th year as a non-denominational reverend. And I'm really grateful to be here at this point with this perspective. All of my life, especially as a little girl, I wanted to find magic. I think we all have that part of us that says, I wish I could do magic too. And I wish I could have some sort of, and when we see magic, right, we call it a miracle, or we are all in awe of it. One of the most amazing parts of the last 4 or 5 years for me, I found magic. I found magic, and I found magic I was already using magic. You're already using magic. You're already casting spells with the things that you say, including the things that you think. We're already manifesting our reality by the things that we tell ourselves when we look out into the world and the way that we judge the information coming in. Enlightenment is merely the process of becoming more aware of the subtleties of your reality. In human development and wellness, we call things like, there's a difference between gross motor skills and fine motor skills. We all start with gross motor skills. That's the ability to move my entire arm. Fine motor skills is my ability to hold a pencil and write my name. Enlightenment is the process of using gross motor thinking. It's either day or night, you're right or wrong, you're good or bad. And enlightening yourself, learning the more finesse, the more subtle tools to fine-tune that understanding. Then the world exponentially unfolds. That's magic. What is it? Ein Baker? Great. Now let's magic the hell out of our world. That's what we're doing. You are a vessel for source. You're a vessel for that magic, for that energy. And you're already doing it all the time. We've just been taught that we're not, and we've been told, again, we've been turned directly away from the truth, and we're told, don't look at your magic. You don't have any magic or any power. What's the best way to hide the truth? Tell everybody that is wrong and bad and terrible and run the other way. Thanks, religion. Some. What time do I start teaching on Saturdays? It's usually 10 a.m. Pacific time. I teach on Saturdays, and we go for several hours. I am going to have to kind of wrap up in just a little bit here because I've got a friend here and we're in the middle of moving. I usually have more classes during the week and more events and things and group coaching. I do offer private coaching as well if you want to get deep into your stuff and your situation and figure things out. I have a massive toolbox: herbalism, nutrition, yoga, meditation, child development. Yeah. The human development and wellness across the lifespan. I've spent 12 years in college, plus a bunch of other certification programs so that I could pull this thing out and go, all right, human, why do we tick? What makes us go awry? Why are we fighting? Why is there all this tension in the world? Why do these things have to happen? Right. But they don't. I want to leave you with this piece because we did briefly here talk about, thank you, Jen. Welcome. This last little piece, right? We talked about manifestation, and that can be a bit of a jump, right? that can be a bit of a jump. Jen, now that you subscribed, we do have a Discord space. Let me know if you don't get the link for Discord. I don't know exactly how it works on that end, but let me know if you need the link for Discord, or depending on the level of membership you grabbed, if you need the replay library or things like that. I will check in with you afterwards to make sure you get all settled into our lovely little CAYA community. Okay, manifestation. Okay. Manifestation, again, we've been really sold this idea, and I think a lot of us are like, there's got to be something real here, right? I hope there's something. There's the magic. Where's the magic where I just manifest the fucking shit I want, the world I want, the life I want, the feelings I want, the partner, blah, 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 blah. Manifestation is not about force. It's not about going out and making things or controlling things. Again, if you try to grab the wind and control the fucking wind, you're good. I'd love to see, I'd love, it'd be hilarious watching you out there being like, yeah, to try to grab that shit. Instead, we invite manifestation. We invite the reality that we want to by aligning our intention and our attention. What does this look like? Let me give you an example that you've probably already experienced, okay? The way that you alter your experience of space and time. I've got 5% power right now on my phone and I don't have a charger. Okay, here we go. The way that we manifest our experience of space and time itself. Remember the time that you were waiting for something really exciting to happen tomorrow. Maybe it was Christmas. Maybe there was a big event happening that you were really excited to go to, right? What happens to time when you are waiting? It slows and drags on. Now, remember that time that you were driving home from work or walking home from school or something like that, and your mind was just completely overtaken, consumed by something that had just happened or something that was going to happen. If for me, it was walking home or going home to a dangerous home situation. So on my way there, my brain would be so full of these things, right? And your brain would be so full of these things as you drive home, and then you suddenly arrive in the driveway and you go, oh shit, I didn't see the last 6 blocks. Now, in your memory, you could probably think back and be like, oh, it's probably just the neighborhood. It's no big deal. It's just the normal houses and streets I see and whatever. The likelihood that you're going to see the neighbor's new car or the kid with the basketball in the yard or these other things is way, way, way less, because your attention is way, way, way far away from the here and now. It's the difference between when you first start driving and your attention is all the things that you got to do, versus when it becomes a pattern, how to drive, we think way less about it. We use that tool of attention to be able to experience our here and now. That is why the current paradigm and system pulls your attention in a million directions. It does not want you to focus on the here and now, or you will hear what's actually going on, or you will see what's actually going on, or you will see the fucking matrix for the matrix. So how do I do this? How do I do this intentionally, right? Instead of waiting for a moment where I'm distracted or I'm excited or whatnot. My favorite place to do this is when I do the dishes. I know a lot of us have dishes are rough, right? Next time you do the dishes, or choose another task that works for you. Next time you do a specific task with a certain little compartment, you don't do this forever. During that task, give it your undivided attention. Notice the sensation of the water and the soap, the smell of the soap, the sound of the dishes together or the water, the temperature. Give it all of your attention, all of your undivided attention. And I guarantee you will have a very different experience of that dish doing. And every time your attention gets pulled away from something else, if you have to deal with something, do it briefly and then come right back, full and undivided attention. Wash rice, carry water. And I'm going to have to go. So I will leave you with that, my lovelies. Thank you, thank you, thank you all for joining me and for hanging out with me for this fantastic little long session. And I will see you again next week at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Derek, I'm doing dishes right now. Sorry, I just had a real weird... My computer says 9:25 p.m. on August 30th. My phone just died. TikTok just died. But my computer says 9:25 p.m. It's not 9:25 p.m. Uh-oh. We just quantum leaped. We quantum leaped and leapt and left TikTok behind. Ha! Well, welcome to the 5D world. Welcome to the new Earth. My name is. Wait, what's that whole game? Have you guys ever heard of the game of saying your name backwards? Or learning how to say it backwards, pronounce it backwards. I always joke about being in New Earth, and in New Earth referring to myself as my backwards name, because this paradigm and this universe is so backwards and upside down and on top of its head. So I feel like the truth of whom we are in the other universe, out on the other side of the black hole, is going to be the mirror image to it. Mine is Harrowbed. I'm a Harrowbed. Derek, let's see, you're the only name I have in the chat. So, Carrid. All right. This is Harrowbed signing off. Ver Harrowbed signing off. I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Mwah! I'll see you next week, or I'll see you in the Discord, or I'll see you passing through my Patreon shop. Move with Change on Patreon. Love you.